the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The moves.
You might not be an A, but you are a B plus.
Check it out! Here we go! You wanna mess with us? 'Cause we're steady on the ground, steady on the ground.
All right, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, welcome to another B Plus podcast. It's your boy, Greg Unchained. That's weird. Normally I say that I am your host, Greg Unchained. I thought I'd change it up, try something new. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I am not your boy. Please never refer to me as your boy. But you know who is my boy? Mr. Mysterious, joining me today on our first ever B Plus Flagship show. How are you, Mr. Mysterious?
I'm going well. If my mum is listening, I'm indeed your boy. But everyone else, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
It's your boy. I don't know why I don't know why I thought that would be. I have no idea. I've been listening to I've been on Station Head, right? I told you about Station Head.
You've told me about this. I'm actually looking forward to having listened to your playlist.
Yeah, so Station Head is this new app that I found that lets people create their own radio stations out of their Spotify playlists and what have you. And so, like today, when I was preparing for this podcast, while I was getting all the notes together for the run sheet, I jumped on and I was like broadcasting my music. I called it the Pop Punk Pro Wrestling Party.
Got to throw in that alliteration, yeah?
Yeah, I'm all about the I don't have a pop filter on my mic, so that's probably going to sound awful. But yeah, it was the Pop Punk Pizza Pro Wrestling Party, whatever it was, and and we'll listen to some pop punk tunes and talking wrestling. Dan from the Potato and Receipt stopped by. A couple of other people. It was good. I got to sort of trial some of my talking points for tonight on live on air on the radio. It was really interesting. But I've been listening to Station Head was my point, and it's a lot of hip hop heads, and so that whole "it's your boy." I don't know where that came from, but it's
we're
bad.
in the zone. We're excited. We want to try and get this debut flagship show out there to the world. Yes,
indeed, and I should stop talking shit, right? Really, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about on a flagship show. So we're changing the model for how we do things here at the B Plus. As we start to slowly restructure the website, we're going to restructure how we do things on the podcast as well. And the flagship show is going to become a show where we kind of talk about everything.
Everything.
Yeah. I was going to say the wrestling landscape. But that's another show.
That's an absolutely different show.
Yeah, that's Lance. That's his whole thing, and he covers whatever he wants. He's the casual wrestling podcast. We're going to be a little less casual, and we're going to try to systematically cover everything. It's going to be impossible, of course.
There's always something. I even did some last-minute checks of some extra stuff that we didn't talk about beforehand, so just to make sure we try and get as much as we can.
So you're going to throw some curveballs at me?
Not major ones, but just some extra stories that have come up.
So on today's show anyway, we're going to talk some WWE stuff loosely, acknowledging full well that none of us watch anything beyond highlights for WWE anymore, right?
I watch 205 Live.
Oh, you watch 205 Live? Right. Oh, well,
watch.
Yeah, 205 Live's kind of separate. NXT is kind of... I watch NXT, of course. I'm very much looking forward to NXT on USA. But, we're going to talk about some WWE stuff. We're also going to talk about AEW All Out, all the shows from this weekend. The New Japan Royal Quest, the NXT UK Takeover Cardiff, right? It was Cardiff, Wales.
That's right, yep.
Yeah. NXT UK Takeover Cardiff. We're also going to talk about some Aussie stuff. Now, I know that we have the Aussie Graps show that comes out on Friday, but that's kind of more of an interview and news show. So we're going to talk about some of the actual substance of what happened at some of the shows here on our shores. And we're going to, the format may change as we move forward, but this is kind of how things are going to look moving forward. And we're still going to have dedicated shows for, I think you're still going to continue with your Impact show. Is that correct?
Impact and MLW. I will always be happy to talk about those two promotions.
Yeah, and of course, Wrestling Landscape's still going to do his thing. The Newcastle Pro guys who have rebranded themselves as Best of the Rest, they're still going to do their thing. That's why this is replacing All the Rest, man, because we've got Best of the Rest, All the Rest. We can't have both.
I understand.
Yeah.
I don't have to like it, but I understand.
Well, look, I mean, I came up with All the Rest a long time ago, and
I know.
And it's very near and dear to my heart. But Best of the Rest is cool. I like it because they do a bunch of the commentary in a lot of the Sydney companies. Dan from Potato and Receipt, we're working with him on potentially getting some shows on the network. We're going to bring more people into the network, covering more different things. So there's going to be plenty of content for you still. But just in terms of the B Plus official, we're kind of scaling back, and the B Plus official is becoming the flagship, and the Aussie Graps stuff, and then everyone else can do their shows on the B Plus network, and we're gonna operate that way.
Like it. I hope you guys love it too.
Yeah, and of course we're always open to feedback. So if you have suggestions, sign up to Patreon, and we'll take them more seriously. But if you have any kind of suggestions, you can always email us at the bplus@unchained.media, or you can get us on the socials, which we will give at the end of the show. But first, let's get into some of this stuff we want to talk about tonight. We'll get some of the WWE talking points out of the way first, because it's sort of the least exciting stuff to me. Anyway,
yep.
King of the Ring is happening at the moment.
Still pedaling on the road to Clash of Champions, yes?
Yes, Clash of Champions, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Clash of Champions is a WCW thing, right?
It might be a bit before my time, but it feels like it's an old WCW name, yeah.
Yeah, I think it might even be one of the ones that Cody tried to trademark but couldn't get, like when he went on that spree trying to get all the trademarks. But yeah, so we're moving towards Clash of Champions, which I believe is taking place in 2 weeks.
September 15th.
Yeah.
September 15th.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So we're getting pretty close at this point. And the King of the Ring, it's a single elimination tournament, right? So you're going to have one person facing one person, and then they move on to the next. But
you'd think that
the semifinals next week are going to feature a triple threat, where Baron Corbin went through, because of course he did, and he's going to take on Joe and Ricochet, because Samoa Joe and Ricochet, they went to a draw in a double pinfall situation. So
yes,
Baron Corbin's winning this, right?
Yeah. He's got the bald head. He needs the crown on it. It's King Corbin. As much as we all don't want to admit it, it's going to happen.
I don't know if he's going to win the whole tournament. I'd have to pull up the brackets to see who's still in it. But I mean, I'm talking about just this match. Like, there's no reason for them to make it Joe and Ricochet both, unless they really want to piss us off by having Baron Corbin beat two of the internet's favorite wrestlers.
It has to be there. On the other side, so SmackDown has just happened as well. So Elias has advanced as over defeating Ali, and you had Chad Gable defeat Andrade. So the winner of that will face the winner of the triple threat. So if you're looking at the brackets, it looks more like Chad Gable versus Baron Corbin.
Oh, see, I'd call it Elias versus Corbin, I reckon.
Elias versus Corbin, you reckon?
Yeah, I think we'll see Elias versus Corbin, and yeah, I think you're right. I think we're getting King Corbin. I think it's happening.
It's like, which is a shame, because I thought, like, Ricochet has the King in his name on his Twitter handles and stuff. He's already halfway there.
Yeah.
You could have, I might be wrong, but you never know.
How good would it be to see Elias become King, though, and he can become the new King of Rock?
Or
he could start dressing like Elvis Presley. Like, it'd be a nice take, instead of always having someone with a fucking crown and a what do you call the robe thing that they wear?
Or the gown, or
the cape and the scepter, because that's the thing with King of the Ring. King of the Ring used to be just a thing that you won. Like when Edge won King of the Ring, he was King of the Ring. There was no crown. Like there was a crown for the one night, but that's it. There was no. It didn't become his gimmick. But then you had King Booker, you had King Barrett, and
Booker, sir.
Sorry, and they
respect on the name.
Queen Charmel. Yeah, no, but they become this king character. How cool would it be?
Yes.
Elias turns it on his head, instead of becoming a king and acting like royalty. He's the King of Rock. I'm actually behind that now.
I would love that idea.
I'm pulling for King Elias.
Completely open to that.
If he comes out in that white jumpsuit, man, growing some sideburns. Hell yeah.
Playing some classic like covers of like Blue Suede Shoes. Like I'm into it.
Yeah. Get some blue suede shoes on. Fuck yeah. All right, King Elias. That's the official B Plus desire is for King Elias. What about Bayley's heel turn though? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I have. I've seen it. I couldn't believe it. Like, if you had asked me, one of those people who I thought would be in a perpetual state of babyface, I would have put Bayley in this list. And yeah, we've had a curveball this week.
You may remember, I don't know if you were a listener or what back then. It was before you joined the network, I know that for sure. But back when I used to do the WWE shows, before I tapped out, I said, like, this is way back when Bayley and Sasha were doing their going to therapy thing, right?
Yeah.
I said Bayley should turn, right? Like, she should have been the one to turn. then. So for me, this is a year and a half or whatever too late.
Yeah, it feels very long overdue. I'm hoping we can still capitalize on a lot of the lost time.
Yeah.
But I was completely for it, and it's finally here, and it's just a nice little flip on the four horsewomen, the whole rivalries that are in there at the moment.
Right, and so Becky Lynch is the only face left in the group, right?
Yeah, and even then, like, she's always been a bit in between.
Yeah, she's a bit of a tweener, right? She's a bit of the Stone Cold Steve Austin lass, right? She gave Stone Cold a stunner on his talk show this week.
Okay, wow.
Straight up Steve Austin, is that what it's called?
It might be. Yeah, the Stone Cold, his new podcast.
No, not a podcast.
Yeah.
It's a show that's on USA after Raw. It's like a proper talk show. Yeah. And she gave him a stunner because she was the guest. But yeah, no, I think this is heading towards some four horsewomen versus four horsewomen shenanigans. But if that's the case, then they're gonna try to bring Ronda Rousey back as a face, and Shayna Baszler and Marie. I don't know. I don't get the logic here.
Well, she's still on her impregnation vacation. She's had 2 of her fingers cut off. They've been reattached since the last time we spoke about her. Maybe just a couple of baby pictures, and they'll think that's all it will take, just to like, oh, she's a loving mother. And yeah, we're back in the game.
Yeah. Maybe we should can Stone Cold go and visit her on her impregnation vacation for his talk show? Because he likes to do the thing is he likes to do the activities that people do. Like, say it's an activity based show. You know, there's talk shows now where they go out and they do things while they talk, right? So like, we're gonna go kart racing with this famous Formula 1 driver, right? Like that's so he could go on the impregnation vacation with Ronda Rousey and engage in activities on her farm.
Okay, I wasn't sure you were going with that, but yeah, all right.
Oh, dude, get your mind out of the gutter. I'm not saying that he joined a fucking porno with Ronda Rousey and the man beater, the woman beater, whatever his name is.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting, although maybe he and the woman beater would get along.
I just had horrible flashbacks to Ric Flair during the live sex celebration. Just like,
woo!
It was a different time.
Stone Cold's going to be on Raw next week from Madison Square Garden. We knew this. We heard about this. This happened. This was announced a while ago, but there was no purpose for it. But now we know the purpose. There was a contract signing supposed to take place on Raw between Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. The OC and AJ Styles made sure that didn't happen. And so Stone Cold is going to come in and moderate this new contract signing between Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman at Madison Square Garden. Worse ways to use Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Well, the real way they're trying to use them is just to fill butts in seats for the Madison Square Garden shows, which if you look at the options available, there are thousands of seats left. Absolutely thousands.
It's not selling very well.
No, not at all.
It's a little bit awkward, especially because I'm fully expecting All Elite Wrestling to announce one of their TV shows from Madison Square Garden and it just to sell out in minutes.
And just the level of competitive, because WWE, they still think of Madison Square Garden as their spiritual home, the place that they can always rely on, which you had New Japan sell out the show far quicker than they've ever done. I mean, it's trying times for WWE.
Well, but WWE prefer to run, when they're in New York, don't they run the Barclays Center? Isn't that their new home, really?
I think it's one of them. Yeah, it's been a good.
Is it Barclays or Staples? I don't know. It's one of them.
They both sound very. I think Staples is when they're going to have their SmackDown Fox transition.
I have no idea. I don't know the locations of these places.
We're Australian, ladies and gentlemen. We do apologize.
Yeah. So, but yeah, a couple of other things just with while we're talking about WWE. AJ Styles says he has signed his final contract. Once this contract is done, he's gonna retire. This is where he wants to end his career. Do you believe him?
I do. Whether or not, because I talked about this on All the Rest last week as well. Just if you think about it, he's going to be 46 when he finishes, and as much as he could change his mind down the line and maybe go for a part-time deal, but he wouldn't be at the same level that he is now. And I don't know. I think WWE is given a bit more security, and I think he might sign a Legends contract afterwards just so that he can still be an ambassador, and so WWE can kind of make sure that no indie promotion ever get him ever again.
Yeah, no, I don't believe him. I don't believe him.
No?
I think this is no. I have a rule: never believe a wrestler. That just
yeah,
just don't
it
believe a
served
wrestler.
you well.
Yeah.
It served you well. Granted, I'll give you that, but I think at this point in time, I think he's being genuine.
Yeah, maybe he is, or maybe he's working everybody, including old man Vince, because he's gonna go back to Japan, or he's gonna go to AEW, or he's gonna weigh up his options. Like, I'm just saying, in how long's his contract for?
5 years.
5 years. So I'm just saying, in 5 years' time, right? Here's the thing: no one can ever have enough money, realistically. Realistically, we're humans.
Okay.
We find a way to spend the money we make. No one can ever have enough money. That's like billionaires believe that they don't have enough money, right? I'm just saying he's going to come 5 years from now. He's going to sit there and they're going to put another contract in front of him with a whole bunch of zeros on it and a whole bunch of commas, and then he's going to get another offer from somewhere else that have even more zeros and commas, and he's going to weigh them against each other and try to push the price up and push the dates down. And I think he'll be around for another 10, 15 years, to be honest with you.
But do you want to see a 55-year-old AJ Styles going around the indie scene still if he's like very diminished returns at that point?
I mean, look, if a 55-year-old, I'd rather see a 55-year-old AJ Styles than a 55-year-old Goldberg.
Yeah, that's valid.
Right?
That's valid. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be going full time or anything, but I'm saying he will be on a contract, and he will be making money, and he will be wrestling in 10 years. I don't believe him for a second. I don't believe him for a second.
I disagree, but we'll have to wait and see.
All right, and the last thing I want to talk about with WWE, Triple H has been doing the rounds with his, takeover Cardiff. He does all the press calls and all that sort of stuff, right?
All his photos with the NXT champions and all that.
Yeah. He's always with the point, right? He points at him. But no, he's talking to the press, and something he's been asked a few times is about Vince McMahon and NXT moving to USA and what Vince's involvement will be. And he seems to think Vince isn't going to be involved beyond just the marketing and stuff. He's like, Vince has told us, go do what you do to make it successful.
Yeah, the key quote that he said to me at this point in time.
Yeah.
So, indeed, like, I think Vince has actually given him the thumbs up to do what he wants, but at some point, this is why I was very hesitant to the idea of NXT moving to Fox or to USA, like what have you, like to a live show facing AEW, because if AEW start dominating the ratings, then Vince is going to be like, well, what are we doing wrong? And he will probably... Like that's the fear, anyways, that he will actually do something to NXT.
Yeah, which I don't know. I don't know if AEW are capable of beating NXT in the ratings, at least to begin with. NXT are getting a 2-week head start. First of all, a very important 2-week head start. They're getting lots of promotion on Raw, on SmackDown, from viewers who are already familiar with the WWE brand, and will tune in on a Wednesday night. Whereas AEW they're running ads during NBA games and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. I don't know. I have a feeling that NXT will win the first few, at least. Right? It's going to take some time before AEW topple them. If AEW come out the gate on top of WWE, that's like story of the century so far.
Yeah,
like this century. That would be the biggest story of this century if AEW actually come out on top of NXT in ratings. Straight out the gate. I don't think they will, but yeah,
I'm a dreamer, Greg. I believe
there is one group of people that you can trust less than wrestlers, and that's wrestling promoters. Yeah. So when Triple H says Vince McMahon's not going to touch NXT, take it with the biggest grain of salt that you can possibly find. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Get ready for King Corbin to make his way through the NXT roster. He'll beat Undisputed Era. It will just it's going to happen.
What though? I do expect the third NXT Live or whatever it is, which is the first one that's going to go up against AEW on TNT. Yep. I do expect that to become some kind of reunion episode. where they put Seth Rollins, they put Roman Reigns, they put Bray Wyatt. Like, they will have everyone on that episode of NXT. You'd be
all the old NXT champions.
Yeah.
You would
You'd
say,
be stupid not to. You'd be stupid not to, right? And just dress someone else as Neville. Standing there between Bo Dallas and Finn Balor, just someone else in the Neville getup.
My God. We wish you well, Park. We wish you well. Like, you made a lovely debut in All Out.
He did.
He
did. Let's talk about All Out, man. We should probably start. Do we start with today's headline, or do we get to that after because that's after the main event?
I want to savor that for the end, if that's okay.
Yeah, all
with
right.
you.
Well, let's start at the beginning. Casino Battle Royale, which actually featured two Australians. Shout out Shazza McKenzie and Tennille Dashwood.
Tennille's crushing it right now. She just signed with Impact, and I don't think this is a thing with AEW moving forward. I think it's just like a one and done. But
Tony Khan said after the press conference thing that at this point it's a one shot deal. Yeah.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah. But we're also, of course, Shazza McKenzie as they Shazza.
How they've gone commentary. My God.
Like, just ask people what their names are before you go calling them by their name. Shazza McKenzie. Shazza. It's Shazza. All right.
It's Shazza.
I think that's something that only Australians will understand, though.
Yeah. I had the same reaction when commentary were doing Adam Brooks for Major League Wrestling. They're just doing all the old Australian tropes, and they're just I was yelling at the screen.
Well, Shazza wasn't in the Battle Royal long enough for any tropes to come up on commentary, but because Nyla Rose was completely dominant, she ended up winning this Casino Battle Royale, which means she is one half of the first ever women's championship match moving forward. There was some good shine here with Awesome Kong and ODB. Man, ODB showing up in this and having that little three-way face-off with Nyla Rose and Awesome Kong. I popped hard for that.
She had a food truck outside for people who attended the event. Like, she's a bartender. She runs some restaurant chain or something or other. And we saw Nicole Savoy, like, champion from Shimmer. The Joker was really happy about the reveal for her.
Right. Mercedes Martinez.
Oh, so great to see her. Like, former
indie wrestling OG for, like, women's wrestling in America, like North America.
Also in Australia as well. Like, she's former Indie Girls champion over here in WA. Like, she's one of the best out there, and just been waiting for the news that if WWE would grab her. But you know what? If AEW get her at this point, I would absolutely love it.
So something we got to talk about with AEW is how they're going to handle some of these acts that just aren't getting over, which we'll talk about a lot when we get to the Dark Orders match.
Okay.
I think. But the Librarians as well. The Librarians just don't seem to be getting over.
I enjoy them down. I'm enjoying them, but it seems to the ideas of loving them, even though like the gimmick isn't that great, it's starting to die down a bit. So I don't know. Maybe when it comes to the TNT show, it will seem a little, or they're having the better segments for them, but.
Maybe. It must just be me, because I love them, but everyone else in the world is being like, just ditch the Librarian thing already. But I'm like, watching Leva Bates step from the book to the book to the book and doing the Kofi Kingston spot with the books, I thought it was fucking genius. Like, I loved it.
Fantastic.
I loved it so much. Anyway, so this Casino Battle Royale, I felt like this was the best Casino Battle Royale that they've had in AEW. I think they've learned from their mistakes, and they kept this one nice and tight. There was no extended spots of people just punching each other in the corner waiting for something to happen. It was pretty good. It was a really good Casino Battle Royale.
They've learned from their mistakes. They're doing good.
Yeah. Noticeably absent, Kylie Ray.
Yes. Like, she hasn't been seen since Double or Nothing. Like, she had done some other indie shows since Double or Nothing, but only like one or two, and we don't know what's happening. It could be medical reasons, could be personal reasons. It's all speculation at this point, but
no, we do know. We do know. Yeah, the press scrum after the event, Tony Khan confirmed that she has been released.
Oh, she could confirm that been released, but like the reason for it is what I'm saying.
She asked for her release. That's all we know. It was amicable. It was mutual.
Yeah,
and she asked for her release. So,
which is a big blow. to
Yeah,
the
no
women's
idea
division.
why. No idea why. And I was a big fan of Kylie Ray. I enjoyed her stuff. So I thought that she was like an actual organic Bailey, you know?
Mhm.
The Bailey gimmick better than Bailey. So
Yeah. Bailey cranked to 11.
yeah, and so I'm sad to see her go. Hopefully she comes back. If it's because I've read some things that like 'cause she deleted her Twitter and stuff, people have speculated that it might be a mental health issue. I hope she's getting the help that she needs. If it's a physical health issue, I hope she's getting the help she needs. I'm a Kylie Ray fan, so I really hope that we see her back eventually. But then we also had on that buy-in pre-show for AEW, we had Private Party defeating the Kyles, as we have come to call them here at the B Plus,
Yes.
and Helico and Jack Evans.
From their lovely get-ups from Double Nothing and just, yeah.
Well, they still do it. They're still wearing
They
the
still
green.
do it. They're still doing it.
Like
Yeah.
sponsored by Monster Energy. And at the end of this match, the Private Party win. And then at the end of the match, Angelico and Jack Evans, they get pissed and they just start destroying things and throwing people into walls. What does that sound like? They're walking, talking Kyle memes, bro.
It's how they can fly so high. Yep.
Just please, AEW, if you are listening, I know Tony Khan, I know you're a big fan of the show at the B Plus here. I know you're listening.
Yeah.
Just please repackage them. Kyle 1 and Kyle 2. You don't even need to do any repackaging. It's done. Just rename them Kyle 1 and Kyle 2, the Kyles, and just have them punch a wall backstage every now and then. Like when they find out that they're not getting the match they want, punch a wall.
Just put the M Monsters logo onto their ring gear. It'll be fine. This
is a sponsorship opportunity for you.
Yeah.
You know, Cracker Barrel is fun and all, but the real money is in the energy drink game.
It can liven you up, like even people who are just walking around aimlessly, like a certain person who helped out later on.
Plus, well, we'll get that, but think about it. You can have, because Monster Energy also work with like, you know, crusty demons and stuff, right? And that's a Kyle thing too. You can have these guys come out on ramps like Bash Howard in Glow. How he wants to have them. You can have these guys do a wrestling entrance with massive ramps and dirt bikes. This is spectacle at its finest. All right, Tony? TK, my good friend TK.
Go listen to our Glow Netflix review of Season 3, guys. It was a real treat.
The Kyles lost the match. Now, this wasn't for a bye or anything, right? This was just because Private Party are in round 1 against the Bucks. How do you feel about the whole having a match for a first round bye situation? Because doesn't it just mean that that's their first round match?
It sounds very convoluted. It'll probably like make a lot more sense when they finally get around to the tag team tournament, but when it got announced at like Fyter Fest that they were starting to do these, it was a match for a match for a match for a chance for the title.
Yeah. Essentially it's become double elimination tournaments for some people. Like, so the best friends lose to Dark Order later in the night. And so when they lose to Dark Order get a first round bye. So you presume that means best friends are in a first round match. So they have to be eliminated again from the tournament. It's so confusing, and like it's the same as like with their women's title, how one contender is determined in a battle royal and the other is determined in a singles match, and the men's title as well. Just they're I don't know. Considering they wanted to be sports focused, consistent, it doesn't feel like it when you look at how they're determining their champions. Like, what is your process? You're all over the place.
But they had weigh-ins at some point for Double or Nothing. Like,
the
weigh-ins,
the weigh-ins are awful. Oh man, I watched the weigh-in for this All Out, and I couldn't get all the way through the weigh-in. Like, it was that bad. Although there was a funny moment, Marco Stunt, sneaking weight plates into his shirt and like trying to make himself be heavier. But no, it was bad. It was very bad. And the chick that did the weigh-ins should be fired too, because she called SoCal Uncensored SoCal Uncovered, I think. I can't. She got it wrong. Let's put it that way.
She got it wrong.
SoCal Unlimited. That's what she called them. SoCal Unlimited. And they ripped into her about it. It was great. But anyway, SoCal Unlimited start the show. Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky taking on a boy and his dinosaur and his
featuring
other boy.
Marco Stunt.
Yeah. So, well,
Your boy, and his dinosaur.
I think JR was calling them Jurassic Express, but JR was also calling Jungle Boy Jungle Jack. So,
Yeah, no, I think it is the Jurassic Express at this stage.
I love this match. I love this. I love SCU as the perennial openers for AEW shows. I think I've said it before. They're the perfect group for it. And
They're amazing.
I love Boy and his dinosaur. I love their stuff on Being the Elite. I'm probably in the minority there. I know a lot of people think it's stupid, but I think it's fucking hilarious. Jungle Boy is a star. He's an absolute star. And
he's going somewhere. Yeah.
Oh man,
you can tell.
I'm enjoying all this, and they didn't lose anything. And like Excalibur said it on commentary, like, SCU are really accomplished and experienced, and these guys, we're going to get to see how these guys mature as a trio, because this was their first match as a trio. And I remember him saying that word specifically, mature, and like their name is a boy and his dinosaur, right? And so we're going to get to see them mature. And I just thought it was great. It was like they lost nothing by losing this match. They looked great.
Absolutely not.
They lost nothing.
MVP, of course, was Luchasaurus, without a doubt.
Yeah, you think Luchasaurus is the MVP of the team?
Oh, just from that match, absolutely. Just how he can just transition from all the power moves to just casually flipping over the ropes is just...
He's pretty great. He's
pretty great.
And as well, like his whole relationship with Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy, and his whole history of being anti-bullying. The second he turns heel on them, he's going to be the biggest monster heel in the company.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But it was a good opening match. Then we move on and we get this. Surprised me that this came so early in the show, but Pac and Kenny Omega, what a lot of people consider a big upset victory here. Pac getting the win in his first match in AEW, defeating the Best Bout Machine by submission. Well, not submission, by referee stoppage with a chokeout.
Yeah, from a submission.
Yeah. Amazing match. I loved this match so much, and honestly, I thought it was a strong booking decision.
Yeah, they need, like, the fact that Pac couldn't be there for Double or Nothing to begin with, like, that was a big blow to them, and like, that they're they're going to make him to be the big monster heel who was leading the brand, and then they had the whole with the Dragon Gate situation. So now that he's seemingly back now and he has the time to do it, they're going to there's going to be a slower build now, but they need to start making more heels.
Yeah, well, he's the bastard. He's just a straight up killer, and Kenny wasn't ready for him because Kenny was ready for Mox.
Yeah, he was like, and even in that promo from Being the Elite, what time is it in London? I think is the name where it was, but he was just going to town on Moxley, just like blaming him for saying it's your own fault for trying to do everything all at once, and he's been focusing on just one opponent.
Yeah,
and yeah.
But then, ironically, by focusing on one opponent, he lost a match. He lost another match in AEW. Yeah.
And this was meant to be the original match as well. Like Park, like the rumor was anyway that Park would go up against Kenny Omega for the inaugural AEW Championship. So it was nice to kind of see it what it would have been.
Yeah.
From Double or Nothing. Yeah.
Well, it was a brilliant match, but I still think they left more in the can because I think they will. I mean, obviously Kenny Omega's path to redemption, because they're clearly going with a losing streak here for Kenny Omega. His path to redemption has to go back through Park at some point.
Oh, we won't count SEMA, but yeah, just the slow. Yeah. Got a few.
No, but they're showing that he's not at the level that he thinks or wants to be. And he's going to have to, and I think it's smart because the American audience, the mainstream audience on TNT, don't necessarily know Kenny Omega. These aren't necessarily all going to be people who watch New Japan. They may have heard the name, potentially, at best, but they won't know his work. And so they can be introduced to him and have him be built up as a star, which makes a lot of sense. And having him or Hangman Adam Page chase the new champion, Chris Jericho, is a very, very smart decision. Moving on, Cracker Barrel 3-way match. The Cracker Barrel Clash, they called it. Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin, Joey Janela. This was my favorite match of the night.
This was like three crazy people trying to out crazy each other sponsored by Cracker Barrel. Yeah. That's
I'm just saying, Darby Allin is my spirit animal. I mean, I wouldn't be doing coffin drops onto barrels onto stairs. I wouldn't do that.
Oh, it's ugly.
But the skateboard with the thumbtacks. Oh,
that was brilliant.
Oh man. Like, everything about that was wonderful. Like, are you watching Alex Kingston?
even tying up Jimmy Havoc to start off with the chair, and then the thumbtacks in the mouth and the staples. Like,
yeah, you got to rewatch that
I've never
spot. None
seen-
of those thumbtacks went in the mouth. That pissed me off. I was
Okay.
watching. I saw them bounce around his face. I'm just saying. I don't know if you know, it's not wrestling's not real.
the astute listeners, the astute watchers of the show.
But no, this match was brilliant. I'm confused as to why Jimmy Havoc got the victory here.
No, I'm not. He's one of the first people that they advertise, so they have a lot more faith in him to kind of lead that style of hardcore wrestling. And if you like, he's one of those people that I can see him being like the chaser for Inevitable, like to become this like big hardcore name with AEW. And Joey, I don't think Joey's damaged by it at all.
No, but here's the thing: they're not going to do much hardcore stuff on TV, right? Tony Khan's already said this. They're not gonna do much hardcore stuff on TV. So these guys are gonna have to get by on their wrestling alone, which all three of them can do. All three of them can do.
Yes, they can.
But
yeah,
I don't know. There was a different way I would have gone with this, and I'll talk about it later because there are some booking issues with this show that I'm scared about moving forward. But we'll get there.
Mhm.
So we get the next match is the tag team match, Dark Order. Now the crowd are burnt out from the hardcore craziness, and then you throw out Dark Order,
Yes.
and Dark Order are just not getting over.
No, I think it's kind of worse now, the fact that you've got The Fiend in WWE. Like no one would have seen it coming, but you want this big supernatural. Like, you need some kind of supernatural, mystical thing in a promotion, and
I don't think you do.
This
I don't
isn't
think
really-
you need it.
you need to feel that. I don't know. AEW want to try and do a bit of everything, and if you want to try, this is their way of kind of appealing to people who like that kind of larger than life, like supernatural
Yeah,
element.
but it's just not working. It's not working. I mean, they look like they got their gear
No.
from Kmart. You know,
Mhm.
the Creepers. I like the Creepers to begin with, but mostly just because of that one guy that looked like he was on acid at at Double or Nothing. You know, he was like trying to touch everything. Not acid, MDMA. Looked like he was on MDMA. He's trying to touch things and get all the feels.
Mhm.
Anyway, I don't know. I liked them at first, but the thing is, no one else did. Everyone else hated them straight away, and this was a crowd that wanted to love everything, and they're just not
Yeah.
reacting. The crowd just goes flat when they come out there, and the biggest pop of this match was for someone who wasn't in the match. Dark Order beat the Best Friends, winning their way to a bye in the first round, which means that we don't necessarily have
Very surprising.
we don't have to see the Dark Order on TV until week 5 or 6 because the tournament starts in week 2. So you got to think by the time they get to second round, we're talking week 5, 6 of TV, right? Can we get something to switch these guys up a little because it's not working?
We could have some segments, like we could have some like eerie promos to build up. Like, you'll finally see the dreaded Dark
Yeah,
Order, like a little bit more ominous than what I'm making it sound.
I just
but
hope
still.
they do something. That's I really hope they do
True.
something, and it could be as simple as adding more people. Like, there could be a mind behind the Dark Order that we don't know about. Because you know who would work really well? Sammy Callahan.
Yes, the draw. Yep, there's a reason.
I mean,
for that, yep.
every single group of 3 guys he runs, they get over. You can't argue with the results. Sammy Callahan would fit in really well with the whole Darby Allin, Jimmy Havoc, Joey Janela, Moxley
hardcore,
scene.
yeah.
He would fit in really well with them.
I thought, for the life of me, when he left MLW, I thought he was going to AEW. Like, it seemed like the natural fit.
I'm putting it out on a limb. If I'm doing everything I can. If I'm looking at Dark Order struggling to get over, I'm looking at the rest of the wrestling scene and being like, every 2 guys that Sammy Callahan gets paired with, they get better and they get over. I'm doing everything I can to try and sign Sammy Callahan and put him with the Dark Order as some sort of evil genius that's controlling the Dark Order, because I think it needs it.
Everything.
Yeah. Don't make them just a new OVE. Like, let him work some kind of magic, Yeah.
No,
but
yeah.
that's
Sorry, that was. Low hanging fruit. I
But
apologize.
that's my fantasy booking. Because it does seem like as well they're big on trios, right? Because the boy and his dinosaur got Marco Stunt added to the group, and the best friends, Orange Cassidy.
The crowd just were like, after, like you said, after being drained from the hardcore match, just seeing Orange Cassidy appear is just the breath of fresh air you needed.
Hands in pockets, dives through the ropes, does a tope suicida with his hands still in his pockets, rolls back in the ring, does the kip up, does the whole Orange Cassidy bits. Fucking brilliant. Crowd are lapping it up. Like, it's the kind of thing, like, when I show this to my partner, who's like a very casual wrestling fan, it catches her eye and she's like, that guy's amazing. Like, it's honestly impressive, the things that he can do, and he has the it factor that just draws people in. Whether it can last on TV, I don't know, but having him paired with the best friends, because they care so much and he cares so little.
Yes.
Oh,
he doesn't
it's
care
just so
enough. Yeah.
beautiful.
It's a lovely dynamic. It's amazing dynamic.
I'm very excited for that. So that's the highlight of this whole situation. But Dark Order, they need something. All right, so yeah, then we move on and we have Riho versus Hikaru Shida. And Riho gets the upset victory, I guess you could say. I kind of expected it to be Riho because Riho is the smallest person they have on the roster. Nyla Rose is the biggest person they have on the roster. Kind of writes its fucking self. So when you see that the other match is being decided, like the other person is being decided in this match between Riho and Hikaru Shida, I'm like, because Hikaru Shida just punished Riho in this match.
Oh yeah, like Riho, the thing, like, not only from the Joshi style is she now becoming more known for, it's just that she can take a beating for this small woman. Like, she can give us as good as she can get, but she is, like, her bumps are just
Brandy
brutal.
put that over, right? Like, yeah. And so we're moving forward. We're going to get Riho versus Nyla Rose, and that's on week 1 of TV.
Week 2, I think, to crown the
as the main event, presumably.
And I did mention that when Nyla Rose won, like just the comments from people, the fact that Nyla Rose won the
YouTube
Battle
comments,
Royal,
it's fucking disgusting.
Disgusting.
A man is going to challenge for the women's title. She's a woman. Fuck you. Anyway, moving on. Cody and Sean Spears, another match of the night for me. The story here was just brilliant, but Cody picks up the win, and
yes,
I don't know. I really feel like you should have gone Sean Spears here.
The argument here was that Sean Spears did not want to be labeled an old hand, by losing a good hand. Sorry, and by Cody winning that match, it kind of means that Cody was right in what he said about Sean Spears.
So where does Sean Spears go from here? And Sean Spears with Tully Blanchard. Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson came out, did the spine buster, huge pop. Arn Anderson, love it. But then Tully just retreated to the back. Did he get sent to the back by the ref? We didn't see it. It didn't get explained on commentary. He just decided to leave. Why would he leave his client like that?
No, he's just like, he freaked out that he saw his 4 horsemen buddy, but no, there was no
and everyone thought MJF was going to turn on Cody as soon as MJF was selected as the guy who was going to be at ringside. It's way too soon for that, guys. Way too soon.
No, way too soon. Like, I thought he'd be chosen, but I didn't think that he'd turn, and I'm glad they didn't pull the trigger on that. Like,
I thought that there would be some sort of, not a miscommunication necessarily, but distraction or something where MJF sort of costs Cody the match inadvertently. Like, that's what
it looked like they might have gone for that at some point.
Yeah, that's what I thought would happen, because I really thought Sean Spears should get the win here, because I don't know what you do with Sean Spears now that it's been proven that he is just a good hand. That's all he is, right? So he's not the chairman anymore. He could have, if he had beaten Cody, he could have washed his hands of it, moved on to something else. You don't have to rehash the match straight away. And then Cody could have moved on because he has Sammy Guevara on week 1. And then if you want to heat Cody up, because it looks like Cody's going to be the next challenger for the world title. Just looking at the big picture.
Big picture, maybe,
because Park and Hangman are rekindling their feud. And obviously Omega just lost his big match, and he's got two losses. Did Omega have 2 losses? Yeah. So Omega has 2 losses in his AEW record. And so he's definitely not the next challenger for the title, right? It's got to be Cody.
He's going to take one for the team, and it had the whole story of Chris Jericho saying Dusty promised him all these things at some point, and Cody saying, "Well, I'm not my father." Like there is history there that they can like work off of.
But this is where I would have had Darby Allin win the previous match, right? Because if Cody loses this match, but then goes into TV and beats Sammy Guevara, and cuts a promo about he wants to reclaim the world title from Jericho for the AEW fans, right? Because Jericho's holding it hostage, and then you can have Darby Allin come out and be like, "We have unfinished business." And Darby Allin's just coming off a win. He has a draw with Cody, and then you can have a Darby Allin and Cody match. And then Cody has kind of earned his way to this title match, as opposed to Cody's the executive. He gives himself all the big matches and he beats people he shouldn't. Right? Yeah. Because that's not what you want when you want to be the company that's not WWE. And having Cody versus Jericho as your first title match potentially, which we're guessing here. We're guessing, obviously. But that's where it looks like it's going. That's not a great look if you want to be the fresh new company necessarily, right?
No.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just would have had it all differently. I would have had Shawn Spears going over here for sure. I would have had Darby Allin going over previously so that you could build Cody back up if you need him to be challenging. Because the other stories like Hangman and Pac rekindling their feud, I'm here for that. Omega having a bit of a down run, I am here for that. Like I like all these other stories, so it makes sense that Cody's the next challenger. But I don't like how they're doing it.
Yeah, well, at the very least, I love the foreshadowing with MJF. So after, like, Cody thought he was going to use the chair to finish the match, and then he just he threw the chair at Shawn Spears. But that's just that little look at the end after the match had been finished, like MJF kind of eyeing the chair off while Cody had his back turned. Like, oh, that was just brilliant. MJF is one of the best heels going in the world today.
Yeah. So then we get the AAA tag team titles. Escalera de la Muerte ladder match. Lucha Brothers defeat the Young Bucks, regaining or retaining the AAA World Tag Team titles. So this was an amazing match. I'm pretty sure the Young Bucks died.
Yeah. Like, if you give Rey Fenix or Nick Jackson a ladder, there's just the things that they can do. Like, obviously, like both teams, but in terms of like who's the driving force behind each team in this ladder match, I don't know how to describe it. This was incredible.
Those bumps at the end were fucked, though. They were like, so Nick Jackson clipped his foot on the ropes and went head first through a table, and Matt Jackson, when being pushed off a ladder, ended up landing inside the ladder with his head just smashing into the metal part. It was brutal, and I don't know how they're alive, and it's scary. But the real story here was the post-match. Because this match, again, so this is another one of those things where if you want to be anti-WWE, don't put on the same match for 3 pay-per-views in a row. Like, I know they've upped this, well, they haven't upped the stakes at all, but I know they've upped the ante and had bigger and better matches each time, but just don't give me the same match for 3 pay-per-views when you've only had 3 pay-per-views. Like, just don't do that, you know?
I get that, but it didn't feel like it had worn its welcome with me.
Yeah.
Did you?
Okay. But then, of course, the post-match shenanigans with not LAX debuting.
Not LAX, yep.
We're very careful in the post-media scrums to when someone asks the question. So, have LAX signed a contract? Santana and Ortiz have shown up, and like, he made sure to correct him. Like, it wasn't LAX that came out; it was Santana and Ortiz.
Impact own the rights to LAX, so like they haven't even aired the taping yet of them leaving Impact Wrestling.
They will create a new LAX team as well.
They will create a new LAX, yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that was amazing. So they come out with the president masks on, they take it off. It's Santana and Ortiz. It's LAX. They're LAX. No one's going to stop calling them LAX for a long time.
They try and make the original LAX. They call them the OGs. They're all LAX to me. Yeah,
they're all LAX to me. And they were flying the Puerto Rican flag. So I don't know. They're probably going to be called the Puerto Rican Express or something. I don't fucking know. But they're not LAX for now. So not LAX have debuted. Yeah. The All Elite Wrestling Tag Team Division, best tag team division in the world.
Crushing it.
Bar none.
Yeah, bar none.
You got to think that certain teams have to be looking at AEW like, can we get in on that? Like Heart Foundation, right? They got to be looking at it like, can we get in on that? I'm pretty sure Brian Pillman was there backstage.
He was. Like, when Chris Jericho was having his little celebration, you could see Brian Pillman.
Nice
you can't
hair,
mistake that
idiot.
hair.
He just directs it right at Brian Pillman Jr., the guy that's under contract to MLW. And he's just like, nice hair, idiot.
Nice hair.
Fucking Chris Jericho. So yeah, then we get, of course, the main event. Chris Jericho defeats Hangman Adam Page, who rode into the ring on Hunter Horse Helmsley.
Be a horse. He took it literally. Be a horse. Become the horse.
Hunter Horse Helmsley. Just let that sink in for a second. If you watch Being the Elite, also when the lights went out for Orange Cassidy, that was Jungle Boy's doing. I love it. Anyway, Chris Jericho wins. A lot of people were upset about this too. I think Jericho as champion makes sense because he's Chris Jericho. You're going into television, national television, with Chris Jericho as champion. It makes sense. Having Adam Page win the title here is putting a full stop on the story before you've had a chance to tell the story to the mainstream audience, right?
Yep.
Jericho is the stand-in for WWE. He's the old guy saying, I'm the only reason any of this exists. I'm the only reason any of this is popular. You need to thank me. I am the greatest. Basically, he's a boomer.
Yes,
he's a boomer, right? And look at where they're running their shows. All of the AEW TV shows are either on or very near college campuses. You put a boomer heel on top, you try to run to a crowd of college kids, and then you have Kenny Omega and Adam Page being like, we want to change the world and take that away from him and show him a better way. Oh, come on, man. Like, that's a story that's gonna get some fucking love, you know? It makes perfect sense to me to have him as the champion.
And as we mentioned, like, the original plan, it seemed to be like Park and Kenny were going to be the ones in this position, and like, Chris Jericho is more than a capable replacement to fill that void, and more than a capable replacement to be crowned your inaugural champion. So the first undisputed WWE champion is now the first ever inaugural world champion.
Yeah.
So it's just all that history is laying in there.
And I think Boomer Jericho is fantastic. And but Boomer Jericho needs to take his meds and remember where he puts his title.
It must be Christmas. Just waking up to this news this morning. Like, I thought this was a work.
I thought it was a work. It popped up
for the first couple of hours, and then you had like Brian Alvarez and all the other like official wrestling websites like, no, legit, he literally lost the title.
When I first saw it, it popped up on Twitter because I get tweet notifications from All Elite Wrestling because I'm a fucking mark. And so AEW, a new tweet from AEW, click in. Jericho's launching a worldwide investigation. I'm like, what's he launching an investigation? Oh, he's lost his title. He's sitting there in a hot tub, he's drinking bubbly, and he's like, my title was stolen. I'm going to find the scumbag who did it. Rah, rah, rah. Hide the best private investigators in the world. I'm like, oh, this is a work. They're doing a stolen title angle. It's probably going to be Mox, because Mox is a dirtbag, right? Like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not Cody going for the title. Maybe it's going to be Mox. Which I don't know if that makes sense considering he pulled out of a match, but you know, whatever. I'm here for that. Mox versus Jericho, and then I start looking at the news feed later in the day, and I'm like, oh wait, no, he actually legitimately lost the title. They're saying stolen, but it wasn't stolen. He had it in a limo. The limo driver went
at a steakhouse.
At a steakhouse. What was it? Long Beach Steakhouse or something?
Longhorn Steakhouse. I have the police report. I'm looking at it right now. Like, there's an actual police report, guys.
The police report. This is when I figured out, like, this is a shoot. There's a police report.
The victim reported the theft of his championship wrestling belt while he was eating inside Longhorn Steakhouse. The victim stated he arrived at a Millionaire Club airport terminal and placed the belt inside his rented limousine. The limo driver shuttled the victim to Longhorn for dinner. The victim remained at Longhorn while the limo driver returned to the airport. The victim had taken the wrong luggage from the airport, and the driver took it back to the terminal. When the driver picked up the victim from the restaurant, the belt was missing.
So it sounds like he's returned the belt with the luggage, and I don't know. Man. It's a missing world title, though. Someone out there has the AEW world title. Like, what a fucking souvenir to walk away from All Out Weekend with.
And like, thankfully, like AEW has kind of said like they have a backup belt in case of emergency.
course,
So
yeah.
you will see a belt come the TNT TV show. But
Has anyone checked? Has anyone checked? Has anyone checked Drake Maverick or R-Truth? Or because these guys they're pretty intent on taking belts at random places like steakhouses and airports, right?
like the amount of all those like
memes.
I've seen
All of them.
Drake Maverick to R-Truth to the It Was Me Austin, just
Repo
all
Man.
of that.
I saw Repo Man at one point.
Repo Man.
Repo Man is all elite. Yeah. Apparently Jericho had some debts. Repo Man's just doing his job, you guys. All right?
Yeah.
He's just doing his job. I don't know why Repo Man gets treated like a criminal, right? It's paid work. That would be like saying Dog the Bounty Hunter is a criminal.
He makes a living.
He's doing what he has to do. Anyway. No one likes Repo Man. Working on behalf of IRS.
So less than 24 hours after winning the most prestigious prize in wrestling, arguably today, yeah, so someone is walking around with that. And yeah, we'll see where they recover it.
Yeah. So, couple of thoughts with AEW All Out. There's cracks starting to form. Cody booking himself on top is one that people could very quickly turn against. Some of the fact that it's Jericho as champion, Cody going as the challenger, Park beating Omega. These are all ex-WWE guys.
You can see
you want to
it
be
that
the
way.
fresh new company. Like it's almost like the things that they're saying, and of course, we're going to be athletically focused, and they are showing the records and all that sort of stuff. But we're going to be, consistency and all this sort of stuff, and then your title matches. You got to get a bye to get this chance at the bye for the battle royale. That then you'll face person who won a singles match. No, none of it makes sense. Please don't just tell us you're going to be these things. Show us that you're going to be these things.
I completely agree, and hopefully, like they'll iron out the kinks come the weekly.
Yeah, well,
TV
they've
show.
shown that they are people who listen to criticisms, though, because what was the biggest criticism out of the first couple of shows?
The Librarian.
No, Alex Marvez. Nobody liked, some people,
Oh,
I said, I
yes.
liked the Librarians. Nobody liked Alex
Okay.
Marvez. I said from the beginning, he works in a sports center type role where he gives you the statistics, right? On the, what do they call it? The control center, when they do the control center thing.
Yes.
And guess what? I was right. They've removed him. They signed Golden Boy and Excalibur. That's a fucking strong two-man booth, my friend. I don't know why we need a three-man booth.
And you even hear for the rumors from the past couple of days that they might just have Shivani and Ross for the first few TNT shows, which again, another stellar combination.
Yeah, look, no, here's what I see happening. I see JR be the pay-per-view guy, right? So you have JR with Golden Boy and Excalibur. You have JR with Golden Boy and Excalibur for pay-per-views. You have Shivani with Golden Boy and Excalibur for TV. And on pay-per-views, you can have Shivani in the backstage interviewer role as well, right? Because he does that really. He used to do that in WCW, yeah? And he was great in it. So,
Yep.
I don't know. I think they've got a really good team here. But Golden Boy, the commentary on this show was brilliant, and it shows that they're listening to the fans. They are. And because people said Golden Boy was really good at Fight for the Fallen, and he was. And so, at Fyter Fest. And he was really good, and so he got a contract out of it, and Alex Marvez got the boot to the post-show, where he was still awful.
Well, you can see as the fact that they listen, kind of
It gives you hope.
It gives you hope, more than the other thing, or more than the cracks. The fact that they listen to criticism and that you can actually, see they want to actively appease the wrestling fans.
Let's take a look at some of the other things that happened over this weekend. My personal favorite show, bell to bell, was NXT UK Takeover Cardiff. Did you watch this one?
I've seen bits and pieces, and I was really worried because I thought that of this stacked week of wrestling that we had, of all these shows, I thought this show would just be
me too.
there.
Because NXT UK is just there.
And
No one cares about the characters on NXT UK outside of British Strong Style, and for us Tony Storm, Rhea Ripley, although she's sort of NXT now, she's challenging Shayna Baszler which we'll have to talk about on a less stacked week. But yeah,
Oh my god.
it's one of those things
Yes.
that NXT UK just kind of exists and it doesn't have any real heat behind it. But this show was fucking good, beginning to end. Noam Dar defeats Travis Banks. Pretty good match. No need to really talk much about that one. But Cesaro showing up and open challenge Ilya Dragunov. Holy shit, that match was incredible. Cesaro picks up the win. It looks like $1 million. It makes Ilya Dragunov look like $1 million. And I don't know if he was catching on NXT UK before, but he definitely is now.
And I think just the subtle act of Cesaro, like he thought it would just be like a easy breeze coming here for the open challenges and stuff. And you could see throughout that match, he was visibly getting frustrated at how, like not much of a pushover Dragunov was.
How good Dragunov was. That's what I mean. It really put Dragunov over, even in defeat. And I hope Cesaro sticks around. He's got to be one of those guys who would do fantastic moving to NXT on Wednesdays. You don't want your Roman Reigns or anything like that showing up. But if they move a Cesaro over, if they move a Sami Zayn over, are you going to complain? Of course not. Cesaro is one of those guys that would do really well in the NXT system and help build future stars. And he showed it here. And I'm hoping that this victory over Ilya Dragunov leads to a match with Volta.
You would hope so at some point, because Volta, like, we'll get to that in a second, but...
Yeah, well, once Volta beats Tyler Bate, which he does in the main event here, where does he have to go? Who else is going to... Like, Pete Dunne couldn't get it done.
No, he couldn't.
Tyler Bate couldn't get it done. You could have said Dave Mastiff was going to be the next challenger, but Dave Mastiff lost a fall to Joe Coffey in the last man standing match here, which was brilliant. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself. We had the NXT UK Tag Team title match where they changed hands to the hometown boys. Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews, both Welsh, and in non-WWE fashion. Normally WWE has the hometown guys do the job. They picked up the titles here over Grizzled Young Vets and Gallus, and interestingly, they actually pinned the Grizzled Young Vets. Like when Gallus get added to the match, you might think, oh, they're there to take the pin so that the Grizzled Young Vets don't have to, and it protects everyone. No, Grizzled Young Vets got pinned.
Very un-WWE.
Yeah. Which, that could be Triple H just being like, see, guys? See? Vince still isn't paying attention. We're okay. I promise. Look, guys, I'm not just saying these things. Vince would never do this. Anyway.
You hear all those rumors of him, like, crying in the creative meeting, just how they treat NXT stars. Just, Yeah. Oh, poor man.
Well, you hear talk of, like, Triple H as someone who used to, like, back in the day, go and check reddit.com/squared circle to see what people thought of him, like when he was a wrestler. So maybe he's actually like, please Vince, please don't touch NXT, please just let me keep it, it's my favorite toy, please.
Who will he post social media photos with then?
It just reminds me of that the Max Landis video, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the story of wrestling. Wrestling isn't wrestling. That's right. Wrestling isn't wrestling by Max Landis, and Triple H is just like, won't you guys like me? Please just like me. Do you like me? And everyone's just like, no, we like Shawn Michaels. And he's like, I fucking hate Shawn Michaels. Anyway. That's Triple H with NXT right now. Please, Vince, please. Anyway.
What else happened, Greg?
Last man standing match. Joe Coffey and Dave Mastiff break the fucking ring. Top rope goes crazy. They end up brawling all around the arena. And Joe Coffey they both stand up at the 10 count after a big bump, and Joe Coffey just kicks his leg out and gets the win. So like I said, Dave Mastiff could have been the next face challenger to Volta, big boy versus big boy, but he lost here. So you don't think Dave Mastiff's going to move on to challenge Volta, and you don't want Joe Coffey versus Volta, right?
Not right now.
No. So then, that one's done and dusted. Kaylee Ray becomes the new women's champion, defeating Toni Storm. I think this might mean that Toni Storm is US bound. I think that they might want to bolster the women's division on NXT, going into 2 hours a week, and so Toni.
I don't see. I'd argue against that just at the moment, because Toni was very uncharacteristic in this match. Just how she was usually a lot more controlled, and like Kaylee Ray really got in her head. I think you'd save another rematch to...
Oh, yeah, no, I think they'll finish out this feud. I don't think the feud is done.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think the feud is done, but I think her losing the title, I think that bodes for, pretty soon she's going to be headed elsewhere. I could be wrong. That's just my feeling.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and then we get the UK title match. Volta, Tyler Bate. Holy shit.
Over 40 minutes.
Holy shit. This match of the weekend for me. But like across all the shows, this was the match of the weekend. And you know, Tyler Bate gave a performance second only to James Adultman on the weekend.
Wow, that high praise.
Yeah. Got to throw it out there. Just this, I don't know. Like if Tyler Bate wasn't a fucking star before,
like, you know, like Volta, like he's just that. He has that believability that maybe the right person could beat him, but he has that still that air of like the final boss about him. It's just he's just a weird combination.
Volta makes people.
He does.
You face Volta, you lose, you become a star.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an interesting mystique. Like Volta could be the biggest bad guy in all of wrestling if he gets used right.
Well, he's got Imperium with him. Like, I don't know. Like, they got to have to go on an absolute tear at some point now. Like, now that Volta's just like come away, like defeating Tyler Bate, like just proving his worth once again.
Yeah, definitely. But so that's the NXT UK show. A nice, neat 3 hours exactly. I think it's like 3 hours 12 seconds on the network.
Mm-hmm.
Which I just gotta say, AEW again, the place you don't want to copy WWE is in the length of your shows, including the buy-in. I think the show went for like 5 hours.
I was gonna say All Out felt very, very long. I will agree to that. Yeah.
And so come Dark Order and Riho Hikaru Shida, people at home are starting to fall asleep. You know?
Well, you hear all the stuff that they're actually going to cycle out the roster every now and then. Like, I heard this only a couple of days ago. They're actually going to, because they realize they have such a stacked roster that's like, they're going to work through them all, or they're going to have the people who aren't on TV do other commitments, and But
like, they make fun of WWE on being the elite. They make fun of WWE for being 3 hours for Raw and SmackDown. Or for Raw, right? 3 hours. It's too long. 2 hours is the perfect wrestling show. I would argue 1 hour, personally. I like a 1 hour wrestling show. That's me. But 2 hours.
I love my MLW.
Yeah,
exactly.
MLW, NXT, Ring of Honor when it's good. An hour is the sweet spot. But 2 hours, okay. 2 hours for a weekly TV show on wrestling, yes. 3 hours for a pay-per-view. That's it. 3 hours for a pay-per-view with a half-hour pre-show. Maximum. Please. This is, like, the best shows to watch are shows that clock in at 3 hours. Without fail.
Well,
the shows I enjoy most are always 3 hour shows.
Well, we have the next pay-per-view Full Gear coming in November. Hopefully they realize and they might shorten things down.
Yeah, well, once they're running TV and they may go, we don't need to fill 5 hours on a pay-per-view. Please don't. Just please. I'd rather you cycle talent. I'd rather you, just 3 hours is 3.5 hours tops is a good length for a pay-per-view. And kind of like we like to put our podcasts at a cap of 2 hours, right? And we've been talking for an hour now. We're at the halfway point. So let's listen to some ads, and then I'll hit you after with we're gonna bring Ben in and talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling and a few Aussie shows.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B Plus podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/thebplus and subscribe today. Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, OUTBREAK NUTRITION. OUTBREAK NUTRITION are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at Outbreak Nutrition. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out OUTBREAKNUTRITION.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B Plus. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, OUTBREAKNUTRITION.com, enter the code B Plus at checkout. And we are back. Time to talk New Japan Pro Wrestling. Joining us to do so, you've heard him on the last couple of King of Sports casts. Big Boy Mikey, of course, has gone over to Heel Turn Wrestling. He's doing some stuff with some other people. Just a matter of, wanting to do more and wanting to spread his wings a little and not being able to do that necessarily here in the way that he wanted. So we've obviously, Mikey's gone, and we wish him well over there doing the things that he's going to do there. We don't even know what he's doing there, but we look forward to seeing it from him. Joining him on the last few podcasts, though, our good friend Ben, patron supporter Ben, and he's going to join us to talk New Japan Pro Wrestling from now on. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Like, I've got no co-host to talk on King of Sports. Like, you want to come along and do this podcast? And now I'm just, okay, now what am I going to do? But fortunately, the flagships are kicking off now, so I guess until I find a co-host, I'll be on here.
Yeah.
To chime in with some New Japan.
Definitely. We definitely do want to have a New Japan focused show. So, listeners out there in listener land, if you want to get your audition tapes in, the B Plus at Unchained.media, you can also contact us on social media, which we'll get to at the end. But yeah, basically, we are open to having a new host for a New Japan show here with Ben. So reach out to us, and we definitely want to have a focused show. But New Japan's going to get talked about on the flagship anyway. So we thought, why not bring you in and have a bit of a chat? New Japan's not the only thing you're going to do with us, though, right?
Yeah, so Melbourne City Wrestling, I'm a big fan of that. I go over to Melbourne from Tasmania for most of their shows. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss... They've got the doubleheader coming up in October, so night one, I won't be there, but I'll be there for night two. And then we know how it takes a week or something for their shows to go online, so it will take me a while to be able to talk about night one. And then TCW, they have their shows every 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 months apart, and I guess I can talk about them here as well.
Yeah, they're getting more frequent though, TCW, which is pretty cool.
Look, they have like a 2-month break, and then they might go back to a 4-month one, so just see what happens.
Yeah, but we're going to start with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Royal Quest took place this weekend, and it was a bit of a quest just to get the show.
Well, I waited a few days like a smart person that doesn't want to spend the extra money. And I watched it mainly pain-free. The commentary, like the microphones were all blown out and distorted, but there was no visual issues though. But you watched it live, I assume?
No, I didn't watch it live, but the version that I came across, let's put it that way, it had some audio issues, no video issues. I did hear about the video issues, videos just going out. But no, I had no visual issues. I had commentary issues, which pissed me off because Gino does such a good job on commentary.
Okay, that's an opinion.
You don't like Gino on commentary?
Sometimes I do, but a lot of the time he's just saying what's happening. And when he actually offers insight as a wrestler, I enjoy that. But Kevin Kelly's there to call the action. I don't need somebody else just to say, no, he's climbing the turnbuckle.
Fair enough. But no, when it's the insights that Gino brings, the insights and the little humorous quips and whatnot that I find very
stuff, like the history with Robbie Eagles and talking about the Bullet Club stuff. I do like that. I'm not trying to slam Gino by any means.
No, so I was watching the show a few days on delay as well, and the audio issues just pissed me off, and I ended up just muting it and watching it while listening to the Super J Cast, which is a podcast that I like to listen to that talk about New Japan, and they're a really good New Japan podcast. If you want to listen to Super J Cast, I highly recommend it.
I've been listening since just before Joel went onto it when it was the Purocast.
Yeah. So listeners out there in listener land, Super J-Cast is definitely one to look up. But let's give our takes. Let's run down the Royal Quest card, other than the technical difficulties that were a piece of shit. Because as well, it's not on New Japan World. You want these shows to be on New Japan World. Why is this not on New Japan World? The Super J Cup still isn't on New Japan World. Come on, New Japan.
Was there? I think it might have actually been on the Super J-Cast. Were they saying something about licensing with live programming outside of Japan, like whatever their deal with? Is it Samurai TV in Japan?
Asahi
TV
TV.
Asahi, yeah. So they have to use Fight TV. Is that what's going on?
I think that's the case. Yeah, I think it's a matter of TV Asahi have the rights to any show that they run, like here in Melbourne when they did the Melbourne show when they do. So they do them on Fight TV for everywhere else, and then it can go to New Japan World. But that doesn't hold muster to me because New Japan World is able to geolocate and block, like geo-block, because we can't watch the in certain countries you can't watch the Arena Mexico stuff that they do with CMLL, right?
And when they have the shows like the G1 Supercard, if you were in America, you had to watch it on Fight TV, but in Australia, we could watch that live
Exactly.
on. Yeah.
So they can geo-block. So if it's a matter of Japanese TV rights, we'll just block the Japanese people from seeing it on New Japan World and let the rest of us, and New Japan World has a lot of subscribers in America, Australia, UK. That's one of the biggest markets for New Japan World because we don't get it on TV. Why are we not getting these shows? It bums me out. I don't like it, and as a result, I'll straight out say it. I found a pirated copy of this show.
$25 US to watch this when you could just wait 3 days or 2 days, 48 hours.
Yeah.
Why would you spend the money?
I mean, look, in hindsight, with the technical issues, probably I still would have kept my money where it went. But my money this weekend went to All Out because, a new company, I want them to get TV here. I want them to look at the fight numbers and say, oh, Australia, there's people watching us in Australia. So I put my money there. I bought All Out. In hindsight, with it being a 5-hour show, and, maybe I would have found another way to watch that and given the money to New Japan. But no, because New Japan was a piece of shit live to watch anyway. So
and 5 hours sounds like you got your money's worth.
Yeah. Mostly. Like, I enjoyed the AEW show. I put the AEW show above this show, to be honest with you, above the Royal Quest show. But Royal Quest started with a 6-man tag match. Roppongi 3K defeating Ren Narita, Raisuke Taguchi, and Shota Umino. Fun team.
Yes, it's just your typical 6-man opener on a New Japan show that involves, 1 or 2 young lions. But it was good. Like, I thought the 3K, that's the double team finisher, isn't it? That's like the best looking one I've seen of that Show and Yo did. It just looked super crisp. I loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really fun, nice, quick match, quick opener. Then we got Juice Robinson and Kota Ibushi taking on the Bullet Club, Hikuleo and Yujiro Takahashi. Juice and Kota. Oh, man.
Good team. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
But Ibushi's obviously a huge single star. I don't want him to be bogged down with Juice. So.
Yeah, but he works really well in a tag team setting as well, right? Like, he and Omega were both huge single stars, but as the Golden Lovers, they were a fantastic tag team. This is the team I never thought I didn't know I needed this team.
Well, maybe World Tag League will get some of this.
Yes, please, because their whole shtick at the end of the match, after they've won and they're like figuring out how to leave the ring, they're holding the ropes for each other. All that's so fun, just fun. Yeah. Juice Robinson is fun in general.
Then up next, another tag team match. Now, this one made sure I definitely saw this one. Chaos. We've got the Birds of Prey, Robbie Eagles and Will Ospreay teaming. Is it for the very first time ever?
Is it? No, I don't think it's the first time.
Is it? Did they do it in Australia somewhere, just as the two of them?
It may be the first time, actually. It may be the first time. Yeah. Birds of Prey.
Yeah. Defeating Bullet Club, El Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori. So they just look so good together. No doubt we're going to see this in the Super Junior Tag League.
Yeah, definitely.
Tag World, yes.
I think they're going to go into the Super Junior Tag League as champions.
Yeah. They've already done that this year, haven't they? That's like a March-ish.
No.
We don't
November?
That's the Heavyweight Tag League, I believe.
Super Junior Tag League.
Yeah, World Tag League for the heavyweights. Let's not watch every show and settle down for a bit and wait for Wrestle Kingdom to kick off in January.
The Super Junior Tag League was held in the last one was 2018, and that was
okay.
where Ishimori and Eagles teamed up, and so
Look forward to a lot of tag matches coming up.
End of October, and then straight after that they get. So it's tag team season, October and November in New Japan. Yeah. So October's the juniors, and then November's the heavies.
So what do you think of this match anyway? Like, I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, very good match. I mean, we're going to be biased here because it's Robbie Eagles and Will Ospreay. I mean, what can you say that hasn't been said about these? We love these fucking guys, obviously. They're huge flag bearers for our scene. And obviously having them go over Bullet Club means they're getting a title shot in the near future at those Super Junior tag titles. And I think that match has actually been announced for Destruction in one of the cities.
Yes, there's the 4 shows coming up. There's one of the shows might have just finished or is currently still on tonight. But I don't think there was anything really big on that show.
It's Road to Destruction at the moment, right? Yeah, but they're getting the title match on an actual Destruction show. It's not on one of the Road to shows. Yeah, the Road to shows, they have the Young Lion Cup, which is returning, which I'm super stoked for. Go Carl Fredericks. But
Even a good shooter.
Yeah, shooter. You're a shooter guy. But yeah, it's happening at one of the Destruction shows. So yeah, I'm hoping that we're going to see Robbie Eagles tag team champion with Will Ospreay very soon.
Up next, bit of a nothing match for me. We had LIJ team of Sonata and Tetsuya Naito defeating Bullet Club members Chase Owens and Jay White. Seems like a while since I've seen any Chase Owens, so I don't miss him too much. Jay White, one of my absolute favorites. It was just a tag match, just working towards Jay White's challenge to Nato's Intercontinental title.
Yeah, good setup. It's just like it's classic New Japan. They do a lot of tag matches like this. You can really do without it, to be honest. But it didn't hurt to have it. This is a good tag match, solid match. Gentlemen's 3, nothing super exciting. Jay White's looking ripped though.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not a big fan of the beard.
I love it. I love it.
I think the color's a little bit off though. It doesn't. I want a little bit darker to match his actual hair. Just a tiny little bit of tweak, and I'll be on board.
No, Jay White's my kind of bad boy. I like it. I'm digging it.
And then we had a IWGP Tag Team title match. The Gorillas of Destiny with Jado defeated Aussie Open. Now, I've never seen Aussie Open before. I definitely like this match. Can you give a bit of a background on Aussie Open and their journey to get to this title match?
So good to see Aussie Open in New Japan. Finally, we've been advocating for this for a long time here at the B Plus. We wanted Aussie Open in the last World Tag League, and they weren't. We're thinking they're probably going to be in the World Tag League coming up. But Aussie Open, so Kyle Fletcher, formerly known as Instagram here in Australia at PWA, and then he moved over to the UK, where he started teaming with Mark Davis. He became the Aussie Arrow, Kyle Fletcher, because he wears the hood like Green Arrow, right? So he's the Aussie Arrow. And Mark Davis, and they started teaming up and became Aussie Open, so Davis is the Hoss and Kyle's the little guy, and that's just kind of the roles that they play. And Kyle's put on a lot of weight lately. Tanahashi had a match against Kyle Fletcher in I want to say it was a tournament in Rev Pro. I can't remember which tournament it was, but he had a match against Kyle Fletcher, and Tanahashi is big fan of Kyle Fletcher. And he told him backstage, he's like, "You're going to be a big star." Like, this is what the reports came out was. What he had to say about Kyle Fletcher was, "This kid is going to be a huge star. He just needs to eat more." Right? It's like just put on some weight. And apparently, Jushin Liger, when he had a match with Kyle Fletcher as well, he said the same thing. Like, "You're going to be a star, kid. Just eat more. Just put on some. Just get bigger." And he's been getting bigger. And now it looks like New Japan are finally ready to bring him in, because here they are. Challenging for the tag titles. They had to go through a tournament in Rev Pro to get this match, to get the shot at this match. And they've been Progress World Tag Team Champions, Rev Pro Tag Team Champions. They've held every title there is to hold in the UK. It's time for them to go to Japan. It's time for them to dominate the tag league. Aussie Open in New Japan. Fuck yeah! But of course they lost.
What do you think? All these Australians turning up in New Japan, like you got Mikey Nichols there. And Slex has his profile page up there now. Aussie Open,
Jack
Robbie
Bonza as well.
Eagles.
He's got a profile page. And,
Yep,
and there's Aussies everywhere at the moment. There's Aussies everywhere. You know why? Because our scene is the best and most overlooked scene in the world right. Well, our scene and Southeast Asia, best, most overlooked scenes in the world right now.
Are you worried that they're all going to get snatched away, and then we can't be selfish and see them in person up close?
I don't worry about
anymore?
that kind of thing. I don't worry about that kind of thing. 2 reasons. 1, I'm in Adelaide. Almost no one comes here.
Yeah.
2,
And
look at the guys that are training. So look at the Tommy Knights. Tommy Knight's been wrestling for like 2 years, right? Look at Reese Angel in PWA, Royce Chambers in PCW. Like the younger guys, like there are people ready to step up, man. Like the younger guys are so far advanced to where our best guys now were at the same point in their career. Does that make sense?
yeah. I'll follow.
Yeah. So I have no worries about the future with our scene. Not yet.
Until NXT Australia.
Well,
and then maybe.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think it's only a good thing. There's more eyes, and the more our people get signed and go elsewhere, the more people go, oh, where did that person come from? Oh, let's watch a match on OVO Play of, and then they see TJP and Matty Wahlberg. You know what I mean? Like it's a good thing. It's a good thing only, as far as I can tell. Yeah.
Cool. Up next match, we get into the business end of the show now. The Never Openweight title match. We have Kenta defeating Tomohiro Ishii to become Never Openweight champion in 20 minutes and 16 seconds. Yeah. Going into this, I knew that there was a concussion at some point, and when it happened, it's like, was that it? Was it the headbutt? No, go back to the German, like right? Self-inflicted. It looked like. Was it from the one that he did himself?
Yeah, the German. Yeah.
Because he does the German and then he takes a German, but I'm pretty sure it's the one that he delivered.
Yeah, he landed funny. It's that's what I'm fairly sure anyway, and it was fairly early in the match too.
Yeah, then the match almost seems to completely fall apart. Kenta goes to like a discus lariat type of thing. It was like the weakest looking thing. Then he just falls to the ground. He's taken a suplex, and I think that he was meant to like fall down onto his feet, but he just kind of collapsed in a heap.
Yeah, just kind of flopped.
It was scary. It was scary to watch.
That particular one where he just kind of flopped, and it was just like, should this match continue at this point?
And somehow he finishes the match, and then can't even stand up on the second rope in the corner, which is quite distressing.
Hope he's okay, but he's the new Never Openweight champion, so yeah.
He's got 10 days to recover until he's challenges Ibushi for the contract.
Yeah, which he's not winning that. So,
Mysterious. You watched this match. What did you think?
No, I thought I was eerily scared about the concussion during this match, and I thought it was fantastic. But I had flashbacks to all the injuries like during WWE, and I just thought, oh no, not again. He's only just got back to Japan.
He didn't have any concussions in WWE, though, right?
Like, thankfully. No, it was more like his shoulder. He really took a bad turn there. Like, had a lot of shoulder surgery.
In WWE.
He gave
someone it's never good to see someone go down with injury again. And I mean, his best friend Shibata, one too many concussions, and then you're one back bump away from death.
I'll ease up on the headbutts, and yeah.
Ishii out here headbutting him straight afterwards. It's like, for Christ's sake. Can we not do the headbutts at all,
dude,
please?
Headbutt spots scare me. I said this to Xander Sullivan, who does headbutts a lot in Queensland, and I'm just like, headbutt spots, man. Anything with the head and neck, it scares the shit out of me. But they're big boys. They know what they're doing. It's their body. Their body.
Do the Big Show headbutt where he puts his hand over him and just headbutts his own hand. It looks silly, but I'd rather that than see him hurt himself.
Well, I like the common one, and everyone's like, oh, it's still safe, and I'm like, I get it, it's safe, but you can still see it's impacting the head and neck. Is when they full on headbutt the shoulder, and it's just it's still full force, and that's still a hard body part on a muscular wrestler. Like, I don't know, I don't know. I've never given one, so I don't know. It's just it's scary. It's very scary.
But it was my favorite match on the card, even with the riskiness, I suppose.
Oh, really? That's a
up
hot
next,
take. I thought that because for me it was definitely the main event. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We right to move on to the next
let's
match.
hit the next one.
So for the Rev Pro Undisputed British Heavyweight title, Hiroshi Tanahashi, I guess this was an upset, defeats Zack Sabre Jr. for the title.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that.
They love putting that title on Japanese people, though, don't they?
They do. Ishii's held it for a while. Suzuki's held it.
So adds to the prestige, I guess. But I am sick to death of seeing these two have a match. Like, this was definitely the best out of the four. They've had 4 singles matches between these two this year. This is
recently.
Yeah. They've had a few more prior to that as well. I did like the match, but I don't need to see these two again.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Let's keep them away from each other for a while. Put them in different blocks next year. Like, let's have a year without this.
Isn't Tanahashi defending it again to see him on one of these destruction shows? So, yeah.
Is he? I haven't looked at all of the lineups.
So
unfortunately,
I think he's going to get straight back.
Yeah.
And in the main event, IWGP Heavyweight Title match, Kazuchika Okada defeating Minoru Suzuki. 33 minutes and 25 seconds. This felt long as well.
This was night for me. I love me a good Okada match. I love me a good Suzuki match, and this was both.
Not for a single second did I think that Suzuki was going to win it. I still like once they got into the final stretch or even like 15 minutes in, then I was way into it. Then like when they were just how hard can you hit me? And you watch Okada absolutely crumple to the floor. It's like, yeah, this stuff was really, really good then.
Yeah. I watched this before I watched NXT UK, and I was like, oh, this match might make my top 3 of the weekend. It might make my top 3. It did not.
People are raving about this match though, so
it was a really good match. It was a really good match, but Volta versus Tyler Bate was better. Yeah, it's like when you're looking at it, these are shows that went head to head in the UK too. And so looking at it in hindsight, if I had to choose which show I was going to watch live, I'd be watching the UK. Well, it wasn't in UK; it was in Wales. But that's kind of anyway. I'd watch the UK show, the NXT UK show for sure over this show. Which I know you don't like to hear, being a New Japan guy. But,
no, you can watch whatever you want. That's completely fine with me.
I got to be real. The NXT UK show kind of blew everything out of the water this weekend, except for PWA. But we'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you won't get there. You'll get to MCW.
Yes, and then I'll be tapping out.
Yeah. So hit us with MCW. What happened at MCW this weekend?
Yeah, so on Saturday night, I went over to Melbourne. Had a completely sober night at the wrestling for the first time. Because that doesn't
sound like
I know. I'm actually 12 days into my life of sobriety. So I've lost so many friends from being a drunken asshole and just for my health and mental health and physical health, it's feeling so much better for it, like not having any alcohol now. And
yeah, that's good.
And it helps remember what happens at the wrestling for when I have to record a podcast or do a write-up. So I'm sure you would appreciate it as well.
Yeah, congratulations on that. Don't go to Wrestle Rock.
I have been to a Wrestle Rock. I guess it's just sodas and Diet Cokes in the future, though. In the opening match, we had a MCW Inter-Commonwealth title match with Danny Sarko defending and defeating Matty Wahlberg. So this is only the second time I've seen Matty Wahlberg. I want to really like him, but I just think it's the character. It's like, yeah, like there was a few things that he did, and I clapped like, yeah, that was pretty fucking cool. But he's still a dickhead though. Like,
yeah. Well, that's his whole thing. His whole thing. He was a dickhead heel, but those cool things slowly won over the PWA audience, and then he kind of turned himself face in that Caveman Ugg, in the build up to Caveman Ugg with the 21st Century Success Story YouTube series he did. Matty Wahlberg is fantastic. He's brilliant to watch, but he's a dickhead heel, and that's his role. But I find it curious that he didn't win here because he's so much better than everyone.
Okay. Well, Danny Sarko is doing this like big comeback story, I suppose. Like, I'm not familiar with him before this current run. Like, I know he's been in and out of MCW over the years. He was the first champion that they had.
Yeah.
Do you have much history of Sarko at all?
He's been working PCW more recently. they're in Melbourne. But yeah, he's on the big comeback run. He's killing it. He's looking better and better every time. I can't wait to see this show. Obviously, any comments I have about this show, I haven't watched the show. It hasn't made its way onto on demand yet. So obviously we've got the live report here, and I'm just going off what I've seen on Instagram stories and all that sort of stuff. But no, when I said Matty Wahlberg, I'm surprised Matty Wahlberg didn't win because he's better than everyone. That's according to Matty Wahlberg. He talks this big game, and part of his talking a big game is he's like, I talk a big game, but I back it up. So part of his talking a big game is acknowledging that he talks a big game.
He did,
but promising that he'll back it up, but he doesn't back it up. He backs it up with fantastic performances, but every title match he has, he loses.
So he hasn't been a champion in PWA? I wouldn't know.
He has not.
Okay.
He has not held a single title in PWA. He has in FWA. He has in Newcastle Pro. He has in Wrestling Go, a bunch of other companies. But in the big ones, PWA, MCW, these places, he has not held any form of championship. It's a matter of choke Wahlberg choke when he gets on the big stage.
Cool. He definitely won over the crowd at some certain spots. Like he did this Eddie Gordo from Tekken, like capoeira kick thing. It was sort of like the Robinson special where he done some twisty, crazy kick to the back of the head. Like I don't know if that's his normal moveset, but when he did this, like we're like, fucking hell, that was awesome. Like the whole crowd just seemed to be like, wow.
He likes to bust out things. He likes to bust out things that wow you. Did he do the massive elbow drop from like walking across the ropes and then springboarding?
Oh, he did, like you set him up in one corner and then he's up on the other one, but then he hops down, walks across and just puts the foot in. I
love that spot.
He did the corner double foot stomp tree of woe thing, which just looked absolutely brutal. We're like, oh, geez, was I meant to? That looked really bad, but like in a good way.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it because I'm a big fan of Matty. I'm a big fan of Danny Psycho and this run, which is where I'm most familiar from him. I wasn't around for the original MCW stuff. People know this. Like I've been an Australian wrestling fan for a long time, but Australian wrestling wasn't accessible that I knew of. Right, like I couldn't watch Melbourne because I was in Sydney. So. My history is PWA. That's the stuff I know. So I don't know Danny Psycho other than this run as well. But I'm really, really enjoying his stuff.
But when I first got into MCW, then I got on the Vimeo or the Pivot Jet thing and went back a whole 12 months and just sort of got caught up on who everybody was and understanding, oh, okay, so here Gino turned heel on Dowie James and all this sort of stuff. So
yeah, I did a similar thing. But there is a full, 9 because it's their 9th anniversary. There is a full 9 years worth of stuff that you can go back and watch, and I'll go back and throw on a random show from time to time. Like I threw on the first show ever the other week, and I was just like, "Oh shit, Ryan Eagles!" Like kicked off the show. Ryan Eagles is my dude. He was a PWA guy here up in Sydney, and I was so happy to see Ryan Eagles on the MCW show. I kind of lost my shit for a minute, but anyway, we're getting carried away here. Then up next was a 6-man tag, I believe. Yeah.
So we had Disruption, which is the new stable or group with Atlas Whitaker, who formerly known as Campbell Crawford. That's his. Yeah. And with Emmanuel and Sean Young, the former TD.
Yeah.
TD.
How are you finding Disruption? Because it's not landing for me.
I'm on board with Atlas Whitaker now. The other Sean Young, I suppose he's all right. He was doing some good heel stuff, but this Emmanuel guy, he's not. I'm not sold yet on anything that he's doing.
But I'm not like hostile towards it. I'm not anti-Disruption at all, which I'm meant to be because they're heels. So that's probably part of the problem. But like I find the Atlas Whitaker character intriguing. Just because formerly can be, of course, and he's changed so much. Like he looks nothing like he used to. But I don't know. It hasn't landed for me yet. I'm not saying it never will, but it just hasn't landed for me yet.
There's some great spots with him. Like he's doing like the 100-yard stare and then just getting like, getting his lights punched out and just the way he's falling down. Just some really good spots with him. Like I'm so into his character and his hair, just his whole look. Like I can't even remember what he even used to look like as Camby now. So I'm all in with him. So they defeated this new trio who teamed up at the Ballroom Brawl, I suppose, with Jake Lindo, Jet Ruka, and Kaz Jordan. And they had Hawko out there as well. So yeah, it was a good match. Yeah, I liked it.
That's good. That's good. Ruka and Kaz and Lindo. Lindo is really underrated. For as a singles guy even. He had a match with Loverboy last year, I think. That was like a fantastic match.
Yeah, I can't. They do blur together, especially when I was completely drunk at those. But Lindo with the porn stash. I feel like it's been a little while since I've seen him, apart from the brewery, the ballroom brawl. So
yeah, he was gone for a while. I'm not sure where, but he wasn't booked for a while, and now he's back, and it's good to see him because I'm curious to see how these three work together. What happened after that?
Oh, next up we had the only unadvertised match, which we predicted that Jake Andrew Arthur will have a squash on here, and he defeated Tony Villani in his debut singles match. He's fresh out of the MCW Academy.
Right.
He had a short little sequence.
That's why it's a name I don't recognize. I see it on my run sheet. I'm like, who the fuck is Tony Villani?
Yeah. So he was in the ballroom brawl, and here he got his first singles match. He did get he kicked out at from one move, but then Andrew Arthur just threw him all over the place, some real vicious judo suplex type of things.
Right.
So that was fun. Andrew Arthur's ring gear, his new ring gear, needs a bit of work, needs a bit more material on it because I don't need to see right up his ass. And after that, we had the street fight. Richie Taylor finally defeating DCT. So I think this is DCT's first loss. And this, it's the hardcore match. You got staple guns. You got the photo. DCT's stapling a photo of himself onto Richie Taylor's face, or he tried to at one point.
Nice.
He grabs the jug of thumbtacks and pours it all over the place, pours them into his own mouth, and then spits them at Richie Taylor. And then we have Taylor, you would have seen this surely on Instagram. DCT is set up on the table ringside, and then Richie Taylor points to the entranceway, the top of it, climbs up, does a frog splash off there, which took my breath away seeing this happen.
Yeah, I shot him a message to ask him how he was feeling. He said he's fine. He's a bit stiff. I'm like, that's the vegan superpowers, man.
Yeah, so,
it's the vegan superpowers, because that looked insane.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest. In person, that's the biggest dive that I've seen.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we had an intermission, so it gave him plenty of time to sweep up all the thumbtacks.
Always have the hardcore match before intermission. That's Wrestling 101.
Yeah, definitely. And then we had the singles match where Steph DeLander defeating Indy Hartwell, sending her on her way to, is it a NXT that everybody presumes?
It's got to be. It's got to be. She's going to Florida. That's my theory. It's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Going into this match, Indy's always been a heel in not just the time that I've been watching, but apparently, as far as I know, that she's just always been a heel.
Yeah.
And she spent so much of the match just mouthing off at the audience and carrying on. And now we're meant to give her a fond farewell and throw streamers. I did throw streamers because our mate Jules, he had extra ones, and he goes, "You want some streamers?" So I'm like, yeah, all right, then I'll take some streamers.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things where she's earned the respect as a performer, and it's one of those things where it's like the curtain call, and we all acknowledge, okay, kayfabe's over for a second, so we can let this person know we appreciate the work they put in here.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
The end of the match, Steph DeLander finished what I assume is a finishing move, just out of no, there was no oh, here we go, we're coming into the last couple minutes. It was just boom, pins. Oh, okay, I guess that's it. And Steph got out of there, and then Indy took her time to get into her feet, and then she got a standing ovation farewell, and she looked genuinely appreciative to the audience for giving her that, and then she was on a merry way.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully to Florida.
Yeah, we'll see. The Philippe's, they're going to the New Japan dojo, so I just figured that she would be going to Japan as well to be close to Tone, but who knows?
Yeah, maybe she ends up in Stardom, follows Avery, but then who knows? We'll find out. I'm sure we'll hear in the near future what the deal is with Indy Hartwell and where she's headed, but she's definitely gone from MCW for now.
And coming up, the second last match of the night was for the MCW Tag Team titles. We had the Brat Pack regaining the belts from the Natural Classics, Stevie Philippe and Tone Philippe.
4 times, 4 slips.
So the Brat Pack are awesome. Looking down at myself now, and I'm wearing the Brat Pack singlet. I just happened to buy this on Saturday. I hadn't bought one yet. It's like, I think I need to buy that. Since I haven't, my alcohol money can go on wrestling merch now.
No.
And the Philippe's, I think they are terrific. The Brat Pack, I think, are even better. They just work so well as a team. I just wish they'd keep the belts on them. Let's put these 2 stars together and just make them beat the Brat Pack again and again. It seems like.
Yeah, it's one of these things, man. I don't like it. I don't like the way to me, keep the titles on the Brat Pack. They're fantastic. They reunited Loose and Reckless and took the titles off Brat Pack like right before Brat Pack beat their longest champion ever reign, just to give them back to him on the next show, so that Adam Brooks can do his traveling and do the things he does, which is brilliant. Love Adam Brooks. And, the Natural Classics, oh no, we've just gotten them back from Fale Dojo, and they're going to head to Japan. We've got them for 2 shows. We better have them win the titles so we can have them on our title history and then have them lose it at the next show. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's a mistake. They shouldn't have put it on the Philippe's in the first place.
Unless
it was before they went to Fale Dojo.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If you want to have them on the ticket as like in your title history, why didn't you put it on them earlier? I don't know. It feels gross to me, and I feel bad for the Brat Pack. Like they should be the longest reigning champions, not the 4-time champions.
Speaking of things that are gross, coming up to the last closing minutes of the match, Nick Berry was on the entrance, not the ramp, but the little walkway thing there, and I think it was a curb stomp or like a drive-by, whatever you want to call that thing, and it seemed to like smack his mouth into the ground, and then he was checking his teeth, and I'm like, oh God, I hope this isn't bad. And then like the next thing you know, there's just like blood all down his neck, and I'm like, where's the cut? And then it's like, no, he's got this big gouge like underneath his bottom lip, and there was just like a heap of blood coming out. And then so they won the match, and then they get in a chair, and it's like, they're not going to make him sit through like a promo segment, but it was just them getting the clippers out to give him an extra slit. No, I'm thinking like, just get him the hell out of here because he's bleeding all over the place, and just get that fixed.
Commitment. You need that 4th slit. You're a 4-time champ. You need that 4th slit. That's so Mysterious. The Brat Pack, they do Nick Berry puts a slit in his hair for every time he wins the title.
I was going to say I'm familiar with the Brat Pack, but I haven't seen them in action myself.
Yeah, so they haven't made their way over to West Australia yet, have they? So
they have not, no.
EPW, if you're listening, book the Brat Pack. One of the best tag teams in the country. He has like the lad haircut, right? And you know how they shave like shapes and stuff into the side?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so he has slits there for the... Does he have them in his eyebrow as well?
I don't think so.
That was a thing once, right?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Man, here's the thing.
Didn't you watch the New Japan and Melbourne show? He was on that.
Nick Berry, if you're listening to the show, I doubt you are, but if you are, when you start winning singles championships, start putting slits in the eyebrows. Please. Please. I need this in my life. Anyway, so yeah, he has 4 slits in the side of his hair now. No, I saw that. I saw the injury. He posted about it. He let us know. He's like, got 7 stitches on the outside of the lip, 4 inside the mouth. He has 2 bottom teeth that got knocked out that had to be replaced. And he said, overall, I'm pretty sore. He also said, I'm in great spirits. These things happen in our sport. I'll rest up this week and make a good recovery. We worked too hard to get those titles back to see him gone. Plus, hey, my sweet baby girl nurse that was looking after me said she would totally dig my scar. Might have to drop some flowers off during the week, bruzzy. He goes into character at the end of the post. Fucking love it. Keep up the good work, Nick Berry, and we hope you're feeling better.
And we're coming on to the main event here for the MCW World Heavyweight title. We've got Slex defending against Adam Brooks, and it goes to a no contest. So you were saying Adam Brooks is definitely going to win it, and I was like, Buddy Murphy was up in the balcony. You could see him up there, and I'm like, shit, I just want to keep the belt on Slex. Don't make Brooksy win it. And then him just like was, he's saying that he's finally signed a contract with somebody, and he's going somewhere, and they're just going to give it to him, and he's going to lose it straight back. Like, just keep it on Slex. And as soon as Dowie came out at the end of this with a chair and hit them both. I'm like, yes! Everyone else is just losing their shit, booing, and a lot of the chants of "fuck you, Dowie" were very loud. It's like it's the most heat that I've ever heard in there, equal if not more than Gino at the peak of him being an arsehole to Slate. That's what it's like in there. So that's got to be a thing, right?
I on paper when I saw it happen, I was like, I didn't like it, but when I saw the reaction, though, when I saw the reaction in videos and whatnot, and I saw the reaction of the crowd, it got some real fucking heat. Like it wasn't heat. It was like, no, we hate this character for what he's doing right now, and so it worked. Definitely worked. I thought this was Brooksy's night. I definitely do think he's going somewhere in the near future. I assume similar to Indy. I assume he's going to head to Florida at some point. But yeah, Buddy Murphy was there, right? We should also talk about they announced Hartley Jackson and Aussie Open are coming to MCW 9. They also announced the women's title for MCW 9.
Yes, this was the big thing. I think it was just after the Steph and Indy match. They played the promo thing, and they're talking about the tournament thing, and then they said 8 women, and then me and my friend were like, holy fuck, they're gonna do
so
it.
they're finally getting their women's title. But also the big news for me, Hartley Jackson coming to MCW for MCW 9. Hartley Jackson, Jag, he's an NXT head trainer. Well, not head trainer. He's an NXT trainer in Florida.
I got a friend on the show. I go, isn't he in NXT as a trainer? He's like, yeah. So, what is he doing? A bit of talent scouting as well, or is he out of NXT? No, you got to assume there's
Triple H says we're working with the companies on the ground, like when they were here for the October thing, for the Super Show Dash Down. He said, we're working closely with the local scene. And there's always speculation as to which companies they're working with, which companies aren't they, and they're watching everyone. There's eyes everywhere. They're always watching everyone. But it definitely seems like this kind of makes it official, sort of like in the UK, how you started to see WWE people turn up, like people under WWE contracts turning up on progress shows as special loaners and stuff like that. MCW, it looks like, is our progress. It looks as though MCW is going to be the Australian breeding ground that will slowly get taken over and turned into an NXT.
I was hoping MCW would be the New Japan link. You got the Rev Pro and the Ring of Honor, which seems to be fading.
Yeah, they've been playing both sides of the fence because they've had Naito and Okada, and they hosted Michael Craven and all that sort of stuff. But they do stuff with PWA as well, obviously, because Robbie Eagles is a PWA guy, and so but Gino is the MCW guy. There's connections everywhere. It's messy, but it definitely does look like WWE are getting into bed with MCW. Just basing this off Hartley Jackson, Buddy Murphy being at the show, which I know he's been at shows before.
If Buddy Murphy got in the ring and done something, then it would be like, fuck me. I guess WWE's got to win.
Anyway, it's big news, and I feel like that's the way Adam Brooks is headed. I feel like Adam Brooks is headed. His goal has always been he wants to get to WWE to work with his mate. And so I thought that this was going to be his big crowning achievement. This would be his moment. And I'm going to contradict myself because, earlier I was like, I don't like you just putting a title on people to put them in the history. But Adam Brooks has the history with MCW already. He needs to have that title before he goes. He has to. I say let him win the title and then say, I've done it all now. It's time for me to leave. And just relinquish the title straight away.
Yeah, okay. Doing it, they're going to make another tournament for a title then as well.
Yeah, I guess it is a bit soon for that, isn't it?
Well, if it's a triple threat match, if you got to, we assume the Dowie's going to be in this match, then they'll just have a Slakes versus Dowie, maybe.
Maybe.
What do you expect?
I don't know. I don't know how to get out of it, to be honest. So I'm not a booker.
What do you think Hartley Jackson's going to do at this MCW 9?
I have no idea, but I'm very excited to see what he may do.
Andrew Arthur.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Do we get Jag versus Andrew Arthur? But I don't think we're ready for Andrew Arthur to lose yet. And whoever Jag's coming to face, he's going to murder him. Maybe I'd like to see Richie Taylor and Harley Jackson. I'd enjoy that. But that's MCW for the weekend. Anything else to touch on with MCW before we let you go, Ben?
That's everything that I've got. Thanks for letting me talk after
That's
being
all right, man.
on hold for an hour.
Thanks for coming on and filling us in.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so I'll chat to you again next week.
So, Mr. Mysterious, while we're talking about Australian shows, while we're talking about Australian shows, what happened over in your neck of woods this weekend at EPW?
EPW had their latest show, Hell or Highwater, just the second to last show before their 18th anniversary special, Reawakening. So then they were...
That's so crazy.
Crazy.
Twice the length of time for MCW. 18th anniversary. Shit.
It's been a history here, and sure enough, this was made extra special. So they had, throughout the night, they had the Invitational Tournament, usually a tournament that's done throughout many shows. That's considered one of the longest running tournaments in WA. But this was partly because Gorgeous Gary only recently cashed in his Invitational Tournament opportunity. He was unsuccessful, but now they're kind of rushing it. So they had the quarterfinals, Hell or Highwater, and they're going to crown a new tournament winner during the next show.
Yeah, amazing. So can you run down the results for the EPW? Obviously, we haven't watched this show. You didn't get out to this show this weekend because it was on Father's Day.
No, I did do a full result, and I did do a full result list, and I've convened and talked to people who did attend the event. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it during that night, but all things, obviously, I hear that EPW are trying to always outdo themselves. So, yeah, I can start. So the Street Gang Hooligans, they retained their titles against I don't know what to call them, like the light. So you had Tyler Jacobs and his children. So his latest acquisition, his latest child, Taylor King.
But he's not a child, right? That like Taylor King's like, I'm not a child of the light.
Yeah. Oh, he's calling himself the golden child of Father Jacobs now.
Okay.
And this seems so far out of left field. Like, I always thought that I didn't know what to expect from his whole Britney Spears inspired breakdown, where the direction he was going with this, and now it's like it's a cultish story of his friends trying to
he's
take
found
him
a spiritual
back from.
guru. Actually, I'm surprised
we
didn't call this because it's the logical next step. You find a spiritual guru. They all have this. We've got the king and his prophet.
The king and his prophet, yeah. So unfortunately, they were unsuccessful with Taylor King taking the pinfall to the Street Gang Hooligans. They did the Iron Lotus double team. Like Taylor King, they did do a great job teaming up with Tyler Jacobs. Like, they had a match at a showcase before. Like, I think you saw that one.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, we had the quarterfinal matches throughout the night. So the first one, Julian Ward, he defeated Craven. He had, of course, Amber in his corner. Like, he's been on a tear since he's been joining the Untouchables.
Yeah, new member of the Untouchables. New haircut, new look, new attitude.
Absolutely,
taking the world by storm. Yeah.
You had Keel Steria defeating the Free Spirit Zenith. He was a last minute replacement. Of course, David Nero unfortunately wasn't able to make the event. So a welcome replacement, of course, with Zenith crushing it over in India at the moment.
Yeah. On Win Korma Dingal. I practiced saying it for the other. Hang on, let me read it. Where is it? Win Dangal Kesoma, a TV show in India. It's crazy. It's watched by millions of people, supposedly.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in India at the moment, and yeah, Steria picked up the victory here, unsurprisingly, like former EPW champion as well. You had before the intermission, you had the alternate Cruiserweight Classic, the main draw, the dream match that everyone was going to be talking about: Damien Slater versus TJ Perkins.
I cannot wait to watch this match.
This, just from because EPW, they do Instagram little previews. They don't give the results away, of course. They got to bring people in, but
we'll do it. We'll give you the results. Damien Slater wins.
Damien Slater won with the Slatality, but just hole for hole, these guys, they were ready to put on a masterclass, and yeah, like I said, I wasn't in attendance, but you hear all the positive feedback and everyone's saying, raving how they think it's one of the best matches of the year over here.
Yeah, and look, guys, just because we gave you the results doesn't mean you don't watch the show. Go watch
No,
the
of
show.
course not. No, of course not.
Vimeo.com/EPW, whatever it is, links in the show notes. Vimeo, pay them the money. They deserve the money. Watch from the vault. They got shows going back. How many years did you say? 18 years?
18 years.
18 motherfucking years. They got shows going back. It's well worth your $7 or $8 a month. I don't even know how much it is. It just comes out of my credit card every week, every month. Get around EPW from the vault, MCW on demand as well. Get around all of these because it's well worth the money. But yeah, carry on. So after intermission.
So the next match was another Invitational Tournament match. Dan Moore, the nice guy, defeating the Coastal Champion Marcus Pitt, which was very surprising. He had Amber and Julian Ward in his corner, of course, a member of the Untouchables.
That's not surprising. Dan Moore's not going to win the tournament, but you give him a win in the first round over one of your undercard champions. It gives them a future championship match. Yeah, nice tournament booking. Tournament booking 101 for you there.
So you had Amber and Julian Ward. They were going to throw powder in Moore's eyes, but Ward missed and he hit Amber, and then Amber attacked Pitt while the referee wasn't looking, and all confusion, and it led to Dan Moore getting a roll-up. So
chaos, I tell you.
Chaos, absolute chaos. The fourth match, we had Gavin McGavin win by submission against Gorgeous Gary, coming back from injury.
Good to see Gavin McGavin advancing in the Invitational. That's what I want.
So they had faced off a couple of shows prior with Gorgeous Gary actually picking up the victory with Gavin not really taking him seriously. So now
Gavin gets his win back. I'm very happy.
Now he gets his win back. Yeah.
Very happy about that. And Gavin should go on to win the Invitational Tournament, which, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the only title he hasn't held in EPW.
No, he's won every title. He's the first Grand Slam champion for EPW.
I know that, but he's never won the Invitational Tournament, though.
Oh, no, okay. So, he hasn't. As far as I'm aware, he hasn't won it.
Yeah, I may be wrong. I'll have to fact check it, but I'm pretty sure Gavin, this is, once he gets this, he's done everything.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. And how you like him now? We like him a lot here at the B Plus, Gavin McGavin. It can be said that I am number 2 in the Gavin McGavin fan club, behind only Gavin McGavin himself.
And then we had the main event. So for the EPW Championship, you had the Don, Michael Morleone, defeat the Godfather, David Storm, who was trying for one last time to become the champion, so his kids could see him, what that was like. They tore it up, which was really hard to do after the Damian Slater match with TJP, but they found a way. And Michael Morleone, once again, still the champion. Storm worked his arms and his back to stop the choke bomb happening, and at one point he did a choke slam instead, but towards the end of course managed to one last gust of energy, managed to get the choke bomb 1, 2, 3, and Davis Storm left crying in the middle of the ring. He was there with his son. It was a very emotional moment, but both guys came out looking fantastic.
Definitely looking forward to seeing that one. But that does it for EPW. The other thing we want to look at is PWA. Did you watch PWA break their backs and make them rumble live on OVOplay?
I didn't watch it. I've watched some bits and pieces, but I haven't watched all of it.
Everyone boo this man. Boo this man. You have to watch this show, man. We're leading into Coliseum. You're coming over for Coliseum, right?
I am. I'm looking forward to seeing Maddie Wahlberg, Orange Cassidy, Davis Storm.
Look,
everyone, I can't wait to see.
Look, you got to get around the PWA shows, my brother. I'm telling you, PWA is the best independent wrestling company in the world.
There's only so much time I can devote to
PWA
wrestling.
Is the best independent wrestling company in the world. And you pay them $10 a month, and at this month you're getting 3 shows. Right? You got the Hot Dogs and Handshakes, the Green Label, but Quack to the Future. You got the Break Their Backs and Make Them Rumble. Come on, man. It's a no-brainer. You got to watch some PWA. And I'm going to tell you what happened, though, on this show. And you're going to be so blown away that you're going to go and spend that $10 right now on OVOplay. And so is everyone listening, because this show was the best show of the weekend. It was better than the NXT UK show. It was better than the New Japan show. It was better than the AEW show. This was, for my money, the most entertaining show of the weekend. They don't pay me to say this, by the way. All right, I'm flying tickets to Coliseum. I'm flying up to go to the show. Like, this is PWA is amazing, and they deserve everything that they're getting, and they're just fucking killing the game right now. Show starts off. TJ Perkins defeats Matty Wahlberg. Now, again, this is another instance of choke Wahlberg choke.
Very
he talks
surprising.
the big game, but he doesn't win it. And I thought he was, because I've got him picked as my choice to win Coliseum. And I think the story that they may be going with is that he keeps choking and he can't win the big one, and so he's going to really have to pull it out to win Coliseum. And maybe he's not going to get there. Maybe he's going to fall short again, and it's going to break my fucking heart. I hope he doesn't. But even though he fell short, he refused to shake TJ Perkins' hand after the match. And then TJ Perkins cut a promo on him about how that's why he likes him. That's why he likes Matty Wahlberg, because he reminds him of him when he was young, and he wouldn't have shaken his hand either. And so he puts Matty Wahlberg over even in loss, which was good. And then we move on to Jessica Troy defending her PWWA title, formerly a women's title, but now an open title for anyone to challenge. She defends for the first time against Matt Diamond, successfully winning the match. After the match, we are treated to a video saying, "Arm collector Jessica Troy, you have been noticed." This means that she is in the Coliseum. She is the fourth competitor for Coliseum. We'll find out who the fifth competitor is on Friday. Tomorrow, Thursday, we'll find out who the fifth competitor is. So if you want to know who that was, tune into the Aussie Graps show on Friday, because I will run it down with the news. But obviously, this is for us giving results and stories of what actually happened. So, on the Aussie Graps show, I will still give you the news. I'll let you know who the fifth competitor is, all that sort of stuff. It's crazy, though. Jessica Troy instantly jumped up my list of people who I think could win Coliseum.
She's a top contender. I have seen her perform before. Like, yeah, there is no one quite like her. Like, regardless of any men or women's division. She's one of the best wrestlers in this country.
Yeah. She's one of the best wrestlers in this country. Very excited to see her in Coliseum. I think that she and Orange Cassidy could have an absolute cracker of a match. I think that she and Davis Storm would tear the house. Like, just out of the people that are already in there, the matchups, the potential matchups are insane. And I would love to see Jessica Troy and Matty Wahlberg in the final. I called it as soon as the video went up. I was like, that's my final. I'm calling it. My final for Coliseum is Matty Wahlberg versus Jessica Troy.
They could do fantastic work, and we'll see if Matty chokes to Jessica Troy.
Well, I don't think he'll choke, but he'll try to apply the choke. It'll become an armbar, and he'll tap out. Anyway, then we had a one-on-one match between Unsocial Jordan and Concrete Davidson. So the Unsocial Jordan, of course, a member of SMS. They're kind of like the right to censor. Yeah.
Yes.
And then you got Concrete Davidson, part of the Black Shirt Cool group. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck at all. They're so cool. They're so cool in their black shirts. They're cool black shirts. Ironically, Social Media Squad have cooler black shirts than the Black Shirt Cool group, but that's neither here nor there. So their teammates were banned from ringside. Now, for a while now, Concrete Davidson and Party Boy Jax, the other member of Black Shirt Cool group, have been hyping up their third man, because every good stable has a third man. Yeah, naturally. So they even had a shirt for the first time here at PWA, Break Their Backs and Make Them Rumble, that said, Concrete Davidson, Jax Jordan, and the third man. And we found out who the third man was. Basically, even though the partners were banned from ringside, Jax Jordan did come out and get involved, which led to the disqualification. Unsocial Jordan wins the match. And then out comes Ricky South, and you think he's coming out for the save, but he also beats down Unsocial Jordan, and the official Richard South is back to being tough stuff Ricky South, and he is finally the third man. You say finally, I think it was a little too soon. I would have liked to see. I was enjoying the official Richard South. I was enjoying the video packages. I was enjoying the promos. I was enjoying all of it. I love me some tough stuff Ricky South. I'm very happy to have tough stuff Ricky South back. I would never complain about having tough stuff Ricky South back. I want to go to Coliseum and sing along to I Will Survive. Of course. Of course I want that. But at the same time, I was enjoying the the official Richard South. I personally felt like when it happened, I was like, oh man, too soon. Like they could have. This still had legs, but I guess it's better to cut the legs off.
Better to do it
It's
now.
better to cut the legs off than to go to a point where you can't walk on those legs anymore, right? Like that's probably the best way to look at it. And if it's so that I get a face Richard South, a face Ricky South in Coliseum, I can't really complain about that, can I? No, can't complain about that at all. So he's the third man, black shirt, cool group. It just sucks though because I'm against black shirts, and he's gonna have black shirts.
They're gonna convert you.
No,
Greg.
because Ricky South is flamboyant aggression. I want a pink. I want a pink black shirt, cool group shirt. That's what I want. Put out a pink black shirt, cool group shirt. That's really hard to say. I want a pink shirt, black shirt, cool shoot. Fuck. You know what I'm saying. If they put out that shirt, I'll buy it.
I do.
I'll buy it at Coliseum. I'm just putting that out there. Someone else who I'm getting a shirt at Coliseum. I've already ordered the shirt. I just have to pick it up at the Coliseum show. The Velocities, the new PWA Tag Team Champions, defeating the Nations, Jack Bonzo and Mick Moretti. This was an amazing match. Just incredible. Can't say enough. Just go watch this match. Fantastic fucking match. At multiple points, I thought Jude London was dead. Jack Bonza's working with a bit of a sore neck at the moment. He's had to pull out of shows that were down here and whatnot. So I was scared watching the match, but at the same time, it was an amazing fucking match, and I can't recommend enough that you watch this match. And even though Bonza is hurt, even though he lost the tag team titles, he won the 30-man Rumble match. And this Rumble match had some big moments, had some returns, had some debuts, but the absolute star of the show was one James Adultman. Have you been paying attention to Australian wrestling Twitter this week?
Probably not to the same degree as you. So why don't you tell me what happened?
Well, James Adultman is the new sensation in Australian wrestling. He made his debut here in the Rumble. Apparently, he is the Prefect's uncle. So the Prefects, the schoolboys, Billy Preston and Jimmy Townsend. Their uncle, James Adultman, who is definitely an adult.
Oh, clearly.
Absolutely, 100% an adult. He made his debut. It was the Prefect sitting on each other's shoulders in a trench coat. It was 10 foot tall, just ridiculousness. And now James Adultman has a Twitter, and he's like, "Oh, I debuted in the Rumble last night, and today I did a business." And it's all a shout out to BoJack Horseman. If you've ever watched BoJack Horseman, BoJack's agent, I'm forgetting her name, is it Fiona? I can't remember her name. The cat. She dates a guy that she is somehow blissfully unaware is clearly 3 children in a trench coat. So James Adultman has made his way to PWA, and I am here for it. Like hashtag James Adultman for Coliseum. I want to see James Adultman versus Orange Cassidy.
How would that work?
Just Orange Cassidy, just with his hands in his pockets, just casually kicking at the legs of the bottom Prefect. I just want to see it. I just really, really want to see it. Anyway, but Jack Bonza, of course, picking up the win. AJ Istria had like a shock appearance, and no one knew he was there. He wasn't announced. And AJ Istria, of course, was in last year's Coliseum tournament. He's an Adelaide guy. And on Twitter, if you were on Twitter live tweeting the show with OvoPlay, people were watching from home. And AJ Istria had tweeted at some point throughout the show as if he was watching from his home in Adelaide. And who was it? It was and Link Barnett. Link Barnett was like tweeting as if he was sitting there with AJ Istria watching the show. Right? And so he would tweet things like, "Oh, AJ Istria just did this or whatever," like during the show. Like he worked us into thinking AJ Istria was here in Adelaide. And then all of a sudden, now comes AJ Istria It was fucking amazing. These are the reasons you live tweet shows. You want to watch the shows live. You want to watch them on OVO Play. But Jack Bonza ultimately picks up the win. He is going on to face Caveman Ugg for the PWA title at the night 2 of Coliseum. So we could get Jack Bonza PWA champion. And, there were seeds sown a while ago for a story with Shazza McKenzie, or Shaza, we should say.
God, no.
Where Jack Bonza said that she's not a real champion when she was the PWA champion. He said that she's not a real champion until she wins the PWA title.
Yeah.
And so she comes back and Jack Bonza has that title. Just saying.
We could see it.
We could see it sooner than later. She could come back and win Coliseum. At this point, every person who gets entered into Coliseum, I'm like, well, that's it. That's the person who's going to win. Orange Cassidy, you have been noticed. Well, obviously, Orange Cassidy's going to win the Coliseum. Maddie Wahlberg, you have been noticed. Clearly, Maddie Wahlberg's going to win the Coliseum. Jessica Troy, you have been noticed. Well, I think Jessica Troy is going to win the Coliseum. I am fickle.
You are.
I am the reason Daniel Bryan hates wrestling fans. Anyway, this show was incredible. Get around this show. PWA break their backs and make them rumble. $6.99 for a week on OVO Play, $9.99 for a month, $80 for a year. It's well worth the money. You get Newcastle Pro Wrestling shows as well. PWA are just killing it at the moment. Just killing it on every fucking level. Their video packages, their production, their match quality, everything. James Adultman. Everything is perfect. You need to watch this. Let's talk 2 of our random stories that we like to, like you used to like to end all the rest with what we would call the fluff piece, right?
Just either some wholesome or just off the wall information, just to make you think, like to end your week, pretty much.
I got 2 things. I got a discussion point here that I want people to write into us about, whether it's on social media, tweet us, Facebook, put it in the comments of this show on Podbean, on not on iTunes. You can do reviews. I don't want you to leave this in a review on iTunes, but like send us an email, the bplus@unchained.media, or hit us up on social media with what your take is on this specific situation, and we'll probably talk about it on a call-in show in the future as well. Nick Aldis believes that WWE has left a gap in the market for NWA, right?
Yeah.
And he was saying this, the way he explained it was, because they have such big production and it sort of overshines the personalities, and he wants to take it back to the territory days where it's like, 2 cameras, a ring in a studio, and the characters are the reason that you tune in. It's the studio wrestling,
Yeah.
I understand where he's coming from, but to say there is a gap in the market for anything at this point with the amount of wrestling out there, I think that's sheer insanity.
I think I can buy like the fact that there is a gap in WWE is the reason that's let all these other promotions come out, like AEW and everything else. But to say specifically just the NWA, I would disagree with that. But I think as a whole, like the scene is because of a lot of the faults of WWE like programming as of late.
Yeah, people want an alternative.
They do.
Yes, but to say there's a gap in the market when the market is as crowded as it is, just in America, just in North America, these are your companies that have TV deals. Okay, you have WWE obviously on USA and soon to be Fox, right? And by the way, we're talking like 11 hours a week of programming from WWE. If you include Ms. and Mrs., if you include Total Bellas, you're looking at 11 hours a week on TV, cable television, for WWE. Then you've got Impact Wrestling. They have 2 hours on TV as well. I mean, it's on a channel no one gets, but it's there.
Yeah.
So you got Impact Wrestling. They have 2 hours. You got MLW on beIN Sports for an hour. We're going to have AEW for 2 hours on TNT, which is a major cable network. You got Ring of Honor on on Sinclair Broadcasting for an hour a week. Am I forgetting any? Ring of Honor, MLW, and NWA are having a TV show.
Yeah,
soon.
NWA, of course, yeah.
I'm just saying, there is more wrestling TV in America now than there has ever been since the Territory era, right? But even in the Territory era, you're talking about local markets, right?
Yeah.
If you were outside the the Mid-Atlantic, you didn't get Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, right? I mean, I don't know the specifics of this because this is not, I'm not from there. But the way I understand it was the territories carried their own show on their little networks, but there was no national cable, nationally syndicated show. WWE came along, they were the first to do it, and then they sort of slaughtered everyone as a result, right?
And thus a generation was born of, the WWF and then WWE. Yeah.
Yeah. But these are, like, I just listed 5 promotions, and I'm sure there's one that I'm forgetting. Women of Wrestling? Wow.
Yeah, like, just the amount of promotions, yeah.
There's so many.
Too much. Yeah.
There's so many. There's so many wrestling TV shows. To say there's a gap in the market feels like insanity to me. But I want to know what you think. I want to know your takes. So in the comment, whether you're listening to this on YouTube, on Facebook, on Podcaster, email us, message us on social media, comment us, leave it in the comments. Let us know what you think. Is there a gap in the market in American wrestling for anyone, let alone NWA to fill? And what's the random off the wall bit of information that you have for us this week?
Well, Dave Bautista, the lovable Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, the man who is invisible, retired officially at WrestleMania 35. He's made no secret that he wants to be in a Gears of War movie. You do think he'd be like a natural fit. He's huge. He's got the scowl on, like known for being violent. But we don't know when that's going to happen. But something seems to have happened. This announcement. He's going to be in Gears 5, the game. So rather than be in the movie, he's going to be an actual player in Gears of War.
Right. To which I respond with that meme I'm sure you've seen that's like, do you have an Xbox One? No, I'm not gay. That's a horrible joke.
It's a bad joke, yeah. So.
Of course, the colloquial use of gay as an insult is not something we support. It's a meme. I was just sharing the meme. It's really hard to share memes in audio format.
It is.
Anyway.
Unless you're doing the SpongeBob meme, like aside from that.
Anyway, Gears 5, Batista. He's going to be a playable character, right?
He is going to be a playable character, yep.
That's crazy. So you can go in and be Batista and just tear shit up in Gears of War. That's amazing. And with that, I think we'll call it a day. If people want to let you know what they think of NWA's gap in the market, where can they find you, Mr. Mysterio?
You can find me on all the socials at Ms. Mysterious with a 1 and 7 I, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Grapple. Hit us up. Let us know what you thought about our flagship show, our new debut, and tell us what you liked and what you didn't like. How about yourself, Greg?
I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. I'm Greg Unchained on Stationhead too.
Very nice.
If you tune into Stationhead, you can listen to some tunes. I'm going to be going live randomly throughout the week, and I'll talk wrestling. If any of you show up to talk wrestling, I'm happy to talk wrestling. So Greg Unchained on Twitter, the Greg Unchained on Instagram, Greg Unchained on Stationhead. I got to get better at saying this. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestling on Twitter because wrestling will fit the B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do. Thank you so much for listening.
Catch you guys.